hello, we're here, we're audible, and we're visible. Okay, I can really only ask for so much. I've pretty much hit all the boxes so far for today. So awesome. Welcome everybody. We're here to hang out for a little while and then talk about some new laws being proposed as per usual. But for now, it's just time to talk about how was your Labor Day and all that kind of jazz. So let me make sure I've got all my chats awake. Spider, thank you so much for your tier 2 sub before we even started today. Thank you for your donation and enjoy the dicks as per usual. I heard your feedback about the colors for the subscription tiers, and I'm going to adjust them, I think. I already have an idea of what I'm going to do. So, hello. Yes, what's up, Shade? Hello, Gayfesh. There's, yeah, the super wide dicks, absolutely. And also hello to the YouTube chat today. How are y'all? There's Paul Hack, there's Anthony, what's up? There's Ursa, hey. And Kitty Tick, hello. Oh, yeah, you're making progress on those projects in the kiln, for sure. Hello. I'm kind of fix my hair a little bit here, which is kind of difficult to do with a Band-Aid on my finger, but hey, what's up, Sam? First time you've made a live stream? Excellent. Welcome. Welcome to the internet. This is where we like to hang out. So for the first hour of my stream, for those of you who don't know, we kind of just like talk about whatever, because the world is a terrible place to live, and we kind of just need to exist for a while, you know? And so that's what our goal is for the first hour, roughly. So that's what we're here to do. My Labor Day was mostly Baldur's Gate 3. Honestly, everybody posting about how gay Baldur's Gate 3 is makes me want to go play it. But also just, like, have a lot of other shit to do. Like, just so much other shit to do right now. I am very busy. And, like, still have random health issues that kind of, like, steal several hours of my day randomly. So, yay. Hello, Baphomet. Welcome in. What's up, Mersh? Sad panda face, my computer won't run the game. I think my computer is good enough for it. We are going to probably start making some improvements to the computer over the next year or so because, I mean, it's my job. So it needs to be in decent working condition. Yes. Titanium Rat asks, am I for real going to get banned from the internet? Well, Titanium Rat, we're not going to get into it just yet. We're going to wait a little while before we start getting into the whole news thing. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's already censorship of queer people on the internet, even on this platform, even on YouTube. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. If you are here and you're ready to hang out for just a little while before we talk about the news, hit the like button. And if you want to leave, hit the like button before you go. It's much appreciated. It helps the stream immediately. Always there is just like an influx of new people coming in when we get a flurry of new likes on the stream. So your support is appreciated. And it actually materially helps. Starting a new job Friday, can't wait to sell memberships to my local zoo. I got mixed feelings about zoos. Anybody else not know if a zoo is like a good thing? It's like there's like conservation efforts that happen at zoos, I guess, is like the argument to make about it. But like, you know, the whale, what was her name? There was a female killer whale who died recently after like numerous years in a tank that was too small for her. And like her companion, trigger warning, but her companion had bashed his head against the glass wall repeatedly until he died. So, you know, not like the best thing. Anyway. Hi, how are you? How are you, Gorge? There's valuable things that zoos do, but there's also just animal exploitation as well. Yeah, it's like you try to take the good and the bad, like, I mean, yeah, it's one of those things, like, my brother's gonna come live with me in a few weeks, and it's like, am I gonna take him to the zoo? Is that, like, a thing that we would want to experience together? Zoos? I feel like one of my local zoos is single-handedly responsible for saving the red wolf from extinction. Yeah, like, they definitely do conservation efforts. I guess it just, like, depends on the zoo. We're not talking about zoophiles, Baphomet. Nope, did not mean that. No, shame on you. Anyway, just got in here, still in hangout time. Yes, we are still in our chill time. We're still vibing. You gotta like be just like a normal person for like 10 minutes, you know, and then you can start talking about the politics and stuff. What's up, Decoy Duck? So, did anybody do anything fun over the weekend? I was doing Renaissance Festival stuff, so TBH, I'm basically just really tired. I had a great weekend. I just also am very tired. But yeah, it was warm, so I'm kind of like gonna need to probably let my body chill out from how warm it was. I tried to go to the grocery store today, and I mean, I succeeded at going to the grocery store today, but it definitely was not like the best choice that I could have made. Did I see any dragons? Yeah, of course. There's like people who dress up as dragons. There's people who put dragon wings on their dogs to run around at the Renaissance Festival. There's like statues of dragons. People sell dragon merchandise. Someone showed me their dragon tattoos. You know, like, I mean, yeah, like literally all weekend. It was awesome. It was great. Zoo describes two different things: a well-run institution that cares for their animals, especially ones that can't be returned to the wild, and does conservation stuff. And alternately, there are horrible institutions which profit from animal cruelty. Right, yeah, it's just like a lack of regulation, I think, is what we're missing with that. You met a girl with a dragon tattoo? No, actually, I met like a 60-year-old guy with a dragon tattoo. He was very excited to show it to me after seeing, like, I have some like pins and stuff that go on my outfit that are like dragon shaped and have like dragons on them. So yeah, it was a moment of mutual dragon admiration. Had a family reunion this weekend and reminded myself why I should never go to family events. Yeah, high five. Lesson learned this time? I don't know. I need to start going to Renfest. It's a lot of fun. I don't ever have the experience of someone who goes to a Renfest, like, because I am always doing stuff behind the scenes, and like I'm friends with a lot of the cast members and things like this. So I can't really speak to whether it's that much fun coming as a patron. I mean, probably. I don't do any of the stuff that patrons do. Patrons are like, I'm going to go watch the joust several times a day. And I'm like, I am going to be as far away from that as humanly possible when it's going on. Like, I'm just going to be somewhere completely else. And yeah, like a lot of the things that patrons do as their experience at the Ren Fair are like pretty deeply irritating to me. And I really just don't want to be that involved. I like the parade. The parade's great. I mean, as a person, like, because the patrons just watch the parade go by. And like, so as a person who, you know, is out there and like I see the parade go by, that's good. That's an enjoyable time. Partially because a lot of my friends are like walking by and I can wave at them, you know? Lux doesn't like jousting. Okay, listen, jousting, if you were doing it for real, based, absolutely. I would pay for a ticket, you know? I mean, you know, yeah, probably. I would pay for a ticket to a joust, you know? But like, it's like a medieval reenactment thing. Hello, Christy. Hello, Gorge. How are you? Yeah, but it's just like not, it's a show, you know? It's like, I don't really go to very many of the stage shows either. Some of my friends do a stage show and it's pretty awesome and I'm glad to catch it when I can. But, like, yeah, I don't really go for all that, like, performance aspect of the thing. I love all my friends who are members of the cast, but I also think that what they do is kind of weird when it comes to that whole, like, putting on this big performance thing. Why don't they do a real joust? Oh, because it's very dangerous. I mean, jousting is super, I mean, you know, it's like a thing that you can get killed at doing. So you kind of don't want to like, yeah, exactly. Fake jousting, not enough blood and injury, needs to be real. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, mama. Patricia Taxon uploaded her first new video essay in a year, and it's excellent and makes me feel pride and joy in being autistic. Nice. I haven't watched that channel a whole lot, if I'm familiar with it. But that's good. I'm glad that it made you feel better. What's up, Emily? How are you doing? Lots of horses would die in real jousting. Yeah, you know, like if a horse gets like knocked over, it breaks its leg. It can't be that dangerous. It was the nobles that did it back in the day. I mean, yeah. First of all, rich people do stupid shit all the time. I mean, just address that right out the gate. Second of all, like, yeah, nobles are probably gonna play it safe. People get brutal AF. Right, yeah, I mean, it's like, It's a stick and you're running with a horse and you're gonna like poke someone with the stick. So if they deflect it in a weird way or like a weird angle, or if you aim it wrong, it's not gonna be good. Nobles were also probably let win. I was thinking that, Corpse Candy. Like if a nobleman went against like a peasant guy, you think the peasant guy is gonna risk killing the noble? Nah, they're gonna like throw the match and make the noble feel good, right? You know, but if it were nobles versus nobles, I also don't think that, unless they were like peasants couldn't afford to joust. Okay, you're right. I said peasant. I meant like knights who were lower tier. You know what I mean? Like knights that don't have land, you know? The kind that never talks about Vosh. I should start making video essays, the kind that never talks about Vosh. I mean, yeah, it would be impressive as a leftist for you to make any content that didn't mention Vosh. He's such a presence. If you want Run Fair with less of performance, can I suggest the Society for Creative Anachronism? I'm sure that will be a good suggestion for someone else. I mean, I like my thing at the Ren Fair. I like being part of the, you know, I'm like walking around talking to people, giving directions and stuff. Like, it's a fun time. Occasionally getting recognized by one of you people, which is always fun. I mean, yeah, to be clear, like I've never been recognized by someone who was like, you suck and I hate you, at least to my face, you know? People who recognize me from the internet and tell me about it are generally super cool. And so usually a couple times a year that happens. The one event where I go be around people in public, it's bound to happen sometimes, I guess. Not that impressive. TBH, Vosh is a drama black hole, but is not a content black hole. I mean, that's fair enough. The only time I bring up Vosh on stream is to reference his dad because of my focus on Hollywood unionization. I have been so impressed with what I've seen about the unionization effort right now. Like, it's just seeing how many people are coming in favor of it, and like seeing these independent films that are being greenlit by the unions because they are meeting those interim, requests. What do you do as a cast member? So I'm actually not like a cast member. I am part of it, but I'm usually like working at a place, or like I'll be like selling something or giving people directions, or like running errands, but I don't like actually do cast. And as far as I can tell, they don't really get paid very much, but you know, they do what they do because they love it. They love it. We need more Stimpy fairs, no more Ren supremacy. I know, it's terrible. Gives me hope for labor reform, even if right now it's just in acting. Honestly, I think one big strike kind of, even though we're not at the level yet where we're going to be able to have a general strike, which I know a lot of leftists talk about it. You know, we want to see broader action. It is, I think, giving other unions more of a push toward going on strike, or at least threatening to strike, you know, because the UAW the flight attendants one? Because I did see that like the flight attendants union has just voted, or was it flight attendants? United Auto Workers? Yeah, United Auto Workers. Maybe that's the one that I'm thinking of, not flight attendants. Flight attendants maybe are not unionized. Yeah, so United Auto Workers. We have USPS voted to approve a strike, although they haven't actually begun striking yet, question mark? Because some of their demands were being met. Although, like I said before, if they clear the whole, like, yes, your new vehicles need to be fitted with AC, but you don't have to retrofit your vehicles for AC, I think that that's going to end up being a bad deal, but we'll see. Doesn't Starbucks have to union bust constantly to stay alive? They don't have to union bust to stay alive. They could just pay their people better, or let them fucking make a union and then just pay them. I wouldn't talk shit if I met you IRL, but I'd be thinking it given your portal physics opinions. Hey, listen, my portal physics opinion is that it's a fun game, and I like talking about these things. Not to be a Debbie Downer, but have you seen the video? What the video? What are we talking about? I guess I don't know what we're talking about. Listen, the thing about having a seasonal job is that I am not on the internet on the weekend, like at all, basically. Unions are great, but I feel personally averse to joining one because I don't like people telling me what to do. Do you have a job? Do you have a boss? Do you know how dumb that sounds? When there's already someone telling you what to do, if you have a job, you might as well have like a union who's actually backing you. Okay, I am my own boss. Well, so okay, why would you need to join a union if you're your own boss? If you're self-employed? They all give each other a boost, but with SAG-AFTRA on board, it means all these celebrities people love are bringing attention to this and using their platforms to create union support. That momentum carries to other unionization efforts, I think. Right. I don't disagree with that at all. You know, if you see, you know, did you love Lord of the Rings when you were a kid? Sean Astin, who played Samwise Gamgee, is like one of the big voices of who's out there representing the interests of the union in like street interviews and stuff. You know, do you like Adam Conover's little like show that he did for Forever on True TV? You know, that's this guy is also out there talking about it, right? Like there is some amount of, because you like that person, and like obviously, you know, it's just one of the ways that propaganda works. Like it's one of the things, celebrity endorsement. And like part of what they're doing with like the fact that you're not allowed to support the work either, like you're not allowed to advertise the work even if you were in it. So that is hurting the movies. It's hurting the movie sales and like streaming numbers and stuff because the actors are not promoting their work. Like the actors and their fame and their likability is part of what people are buying. And like it is part of what brings people's attention even. Like what if your audience uses ad block? You know, how are you going to get through to them if they're not seeing the YouTube trailers for your movie or whatever? So, yeah. I've been really glad to see all of this like, you know, labor solidarity coming together. If unions become more widespread and right to work goes away, it'd become more mandatory as it was in some places in the past. I mean, I don't really understand why unions aren't mandatory and everywhere. Like, I feel like if you're gonna be a member of a labor class, then you need negotiating power. And that, like, you know, if you're gonna work at a place that has a union, what, you expect to get paid the same as the union members without contributing to the efforts of the union, like, advocating for you? Because the union is still gonna do a lot of the things that it would do to protect any of the other members, except you get to be like, I don't have to pay I don't have to pay my dues, you know? Like, but if you work for yourself, again, I don't see why it would matter. Like, freelancers can kind of just do their thing, right? I'm not advocating be like me en masse. I'm personally biased against it just because I don't really like the idea of it, that's all. Yeah, and I'm just saying that, like, that attitude doesn't make very much sense, and because it's the, like, hyper-individualistic American view, it's so widespread that, like, this is why we don't have labor power. Like, as a person who's self-employed, it doesn't affect you at all. It doesn't affect me at all. Although, like, there is, I think, a creators guild for YouTube, or there used to be. I don't really know what the state of it is right now. And it's like, if that were something that were stronger and were actually making a difference in terms of, like, yeah, maybe I would turn super chats back on if they didn't take like 40% of your money. Like, by the way, yeah, that's why if you're on YouTube and you're ever thinking, oh, I would really love to send Luxander a super chat, but I can't do that. The reason is because if you directly donate through my website, it's only the PayPal fees. Whereas when YouTube processes your payment, I only get like 60 or 70% of the amount that you donated. And that was not your intention to give YouTube like several dollars of your money. You know, your intention was to donate to me. So I just kind of cut out the middleman on that. Links in the description if you're interested. Oh, did I not add to this thingy earlier? Oh yeah, by the way, let me update the goal because we did get a $10 dono right at the top of stream. And now the bar has updated. I haven't always been self-employed, though, and the super specific regulations of unions don't seem appealing to me at all. It'd be twice as frustrating as following the rules at a regular job. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to tell you. You like the union wants you to do things in a specific way because the way that your boss wants you to do things is like most of the time unsafe and exploitative. You know what I mean? So, yeah, spoken like a chatter who's never been in a union or needed one. When I was in a union job, the most frustrating thing about it was how much tension and conflict there was between like the managers and the union people. Just was pretty obnoxious to feel that, you know, the bosses always want you to do like an unreasonable amount of work. And the union is like, nope, you can't make people do that. And so there's just like a lot of tension in that because, yeah, that's the thing about the nature of the relationship with your employer is that they want to get the maximum value out of you that they can for the least amount of money. And they don't care if you die. And the union stands in opposition to those things. And so companies fucking hate unions. I'm really bummed about getting COVID right as the school year starts and right as I get into lifting. Oh, that sucks. Do you know where you got it? That's no good. No bueno. Take it very easy. The more you try to exert yourself and like push past it, the more likely you are to develop long-term complications. So take as much time as you can to just like rest and drink lots of water and stuff. Yeah, take it sleazy. There's like 71 viewers in here and like 41 likes. Can we pump up those numbers, please? I appreciate y'all. Even if you're not gonna stay and hang out, hit the like button before you go. We do this like just kind of chilling and talking about whatever comes up thing for the first hour or so of the stream. And we'll get into talking about KOSA here in a little bit. The Kids Online Safety Act, which is going to limit LGBTQ presence online, but it's also like got a lot of other aspects to it. So I do have the actual bill pulled up and we can kind of look at the actual bill, but we still have like 20 or 30 minutes before we're gonna get into it. What's up, Raymond Bell? Thank you. Just came to drop by. Drop by, hit a like, and then move forward with your day. What's up, Emma? How has gymming while masked been going? I've been thinking about doing similar for a while. Also, howdy. Yes, howdy. Yeah, I mean, I use an N95, and N95s are meant to be worn, like, you know, for an amount of time. So they're pretty breathable. They do the thing where they keep the water droplets in on your face so it can get kind of sweaty in there. But I personally don't really have an issue. I even wear a mask, like, if I'm going on a walk in an area that I know has a lot of people in it, because, you know, even that amount of, like, exposure can potentially, especially when you're respirating that heavily, you know, if you pass right by somebody on the sidewalk, it can be enough to get you sick. So, but yeah, going to the gym with a mask on, totally doable. For me, at least. Some people have, like, other health issues, whatever. I'm taking it as easy as I can. Still sucks, though. Mostly I've been congested and having a hard time focusing on stuff. Thankfully, no fatigue. It is quite boring, though. I've hardly gone outside for, like, 5 days now. Yeah, rest up as much as you possibly can, because it is, you know, not something you want to mess with serious long-term complications about. But yeah, it's a bad time to get it, too, especially if you're just about to go back to school. What's up, Shuffle? Hello. Yes, Baphomet. Yes, I know. Oh, gosh. Well, I guess, like, is there anything else that we can just jam about for the next few minutes? Or shall we maybe move on to the news? Because I think I'm going to start doing, like, 5:30 start times instead of 5. Good evening, Lux. I saw some isopod earrings and immediately thought of you. Beloved Panda, did you post in the Discord server? I saw someone posted something isopod related and tagged me in the Discord server, which if you're not a member, feel free to join. People have been doing voice chat recently. The general chat is fairly active, but not super overwhelming. So feel free to come join with the link in the description or on the website. Either way. Where was it? It was in, like, one of the links channels. I don't remember where it was. This pictures. I made the mistake of, like, looking at it on my phone. And I don't remember where it was. Ripperoonie. Oh my god. Some of these channels I haven't been in a while. Oh, well. Too bad. I don't know where the earrings went. Yeah, yes. Can I have some more pixels, please? I was really liking lifting. The endorphins hit different when you start using actual weights. I'm telling you guys, it really does start to give you, like, something different when you're exercising if you start actually pushing your limits hardcore. Yeah, I've been lifting weights for a while and it always feels super good. Yeah, I'm gonna be out of the gym for the next little while, but I'm gonna start doing my calisthenics again and just, like, do a shit ton of push-ups. That's, like, what I'm gonna switch to. Can COVID just end? Thanks. I mean, it would be great if everybody was able to stay home, but it seems like that's just not gonna happen. Oh well. How much is gym? I mean, it depends on where you go to the gym. I was going to one that was free, and then I switched to one that I had to pay for. There's, like, an entrance membership fee, and then there's, like, an annual fee, and then there's a monthly fee, so it's kind of a lot, but I would rather have the space to, like, not be crammed in close to people. Like, some of the other gyms that I've been to have been like, oh, there's, like, not enough room for me to be in here. And then when you get, like, someone who is on the one machine that you need to be on, and you're like, I'm gonna fucking die. Like, this is not good. So I just decided I was gonna go to a gym that had more options, which is working out for me. Okay, you said it's in the link sharing non-spicy sharing links. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, these are cute. Little isopod earrings. Look at those guys. What is this made out of? Titanium. Color changing titanium. Why are they color changing? How are they color changing? Mostly they just look orange. Why? Wait, how are they color changing? Is it like mood rings? I don't understand. But they're cute. That's super adorable. I gave my guys a carrot earlier, and I want to see how, like, if they can eat the carrot before it starts to root into the soil. Like, because of the way that I put it in there, it's like touching the soil a little bit, so it's like, yeah, are you gonna grow into there? It's already got roots coming out of it from being in the bag in the fridge, so we'll see what happens there. I get access to the gym for, quote, free, aka my tuition, which is thousands. Yeah, it's good if it's just built in. I'm so jealous of people who have, like, an apartment gym. Or, like, people who have room to have, like, a home gym, you know? One of them seemed interested in the carrot. I gave them banana and carrot earlier, and, like, they'll probably get into it overnight more. But yeah, they're a little bit more active. Yes, Kakarot. Did you know that Vegeta is my favorite character from Dragon Ball Z? It's a true fact. Hey, couple new people just came in. Y'all should hit the like button, even if you don't want to hang out. Watching stream from my bathtub right now. Lewd. That's lewd, crude, and probably nude. Thank you, Kelsey. We appreciate you. Carrot farm for the isopods. Yeah, like... Vegeta, more like vagina, am I right? I mean, if you say so. He's a pretty good character. I like him. There's no like button on the website. I know! I don't have any control over that. I don't think that actually there's ever a like button available on a YouTube embed. So it's not just my website that's like that. I saw an X-rated Dragon Ball Z anime once. Yeah, stumbling upon hentai. Piccolo is better. I mean, I don't disagree with you necessarily. Vegeta's just my favorite. Piccolo can be objectively better and, like, Vegeta still be my favorite. Anyway. Oh gosh, we should prepare to shift gears soon. Dragon Ball's Deep. That's like a great porn name. It's true. I think I watched via Bathtub once. I wish that bathtubs in most places were big enough for a human being to be in them, you know? You've always got, like, some part of you sticking out of the water. Like knees or, like, boobs or something, you know? Like, always some part. Mine never fully submerged me. Yeah, like, I would love to have enough space someday to have a tub that actually fits a human person. But also, you know, I'm not a big bath taker. I got really dry skin. Y'all know how that goes? When you got real dry skin, and then you just, like, can't really take warm baths because it sucks all of the liquid out of you. It's fun. I hate how the only thing my mind goes to when I heard DBZ is green and purple, and Piccolo specifically. Piccolo's the shit, you know? Hot tubs are just baths for normal-sized people. Cold shoulders or knees. I always had the opposite problem, oily skin and hair. I mean, then you can take hot showers and warm, lengthy baths. I did not see Jesse Single call into the MR report. I am, like, unplugged on the weekends, y'all. It's so good for you. Take like one solid day's break from the internet per week. That's all you have to do. Just one. And you'll still come back and be like, oh my god, how did 8 million things happen while I was gone? I was only gone for 24 hours. Oh god. Isn't this a USA thing exclusively, the small bathtub thing? I don't know. I don't know, Ellie. I have no idea. That dry, stretchy EDS skin. I was recently examined, and she made it seem like I didn't actually have very stretchy skin. She was like, no, this is a normal amount of elasticity. So I just have really dry skin. I want a whole room that's just bathtub. I saw a shower the other day, y'all. Can I find, like, tub in the shower room? I don't know how to describe what it was that I saw. Okay, it was basically like this. It was more or less this. This is kind of small. But, like, how would you like to die? Like, do you see what I mean? You know, it's like, it's a room where it's like the shower is the whole room, and then you close the door, and then inside the room is the bathtub, and it has these sharp square corners. And this particular one doesn't have any kind of, like, non-slip mat on the floor or anything. It's just like a tile floor. Like, how do you want to, like, slip and die? Like, slip and crack your head against the corner of this thing? Like that. Look at that sharp-edged corner. Do you guys see that? On the left and the right, both. Does not seem like a good way to go. It's not what I want for me. It's not how I want. That's not how I want to go out. My friend in the UK is a poor chav, but then their tub is huge. Right, I would simply not slip. Rip to you, but I'm built different. I'm built different. Gayfesh is built different. Gayfesh would never slip and fall. Single called in, and Emma and Sam torched him by forcing him to answer whether or not he acknowledges Jamie Reed is discredited. When he said no, Emma canceled her appearance on his show and called him bad faith. Oh, damn. Isn't Jamie Reed that woman who worked at the place and gave the information about the minors? I die doing what I love, flailing in the bathroom. Okay, good. I'm remembering names now. That's good for me. Give me a little pat on the head. This is what I need. I deserve a pat on the head for remembering one single fact. Yes, she's the one who violated HIPAA to feed info to Singal. Okay. I've fallen and can't get up moment. True. Yes, thank you for the head pats. That's exactly what I needed. Yeah, she was like the receptionist at a gender clinic. So he refused to say... So Singal called in, and then the Emma and Sam forced him to answer the question, and he said, no, she's not discredited for violating HIPAA and releasing information about vulnerable minors. I thought she was the bookkeeper. I'm not really sure exactly what her role was, but it was administrative. She was either a receptionist or a accountant or scheduling a person, something along those lines, but not medical staff. Singal got all upset because Emma called him a transphobe. Yeah, like, I don't know how publishing information about teenagers who are at the gender clinic doesn't make you, like, complicit in transphobia at the very minimum. And it's like, you're a pretty active participant in potentially harming trans children by doing that. Which seems like, I don't know, transphobic to me, but whatever. What do I know? I don't know anything. Oh, gosh. Do you see the pumpkin that I've added to the background here? I know I'm normally, like, sat in front of it. Do I need to move this? Do I need to move it over here? Like, I don't really want it to be over here. But does this, in order to be seen in the scene, does this need to be over here? I don't know. I just think it'll mess up the lighting more than anything, is the part that sucks. Anyway, just getting distracted looking at my background. What's up, Marcella? Your mushroom looks good there. Yeah, it's gonna go raffle on the Patreon, but I need to make more than one before I start raffling on the Patreon. There's a new free tier on my Patreon if you want to become a member and see exclusive but free content. And also, if you want to pitch me $1, that's great, and I love you. Thank you. Eventually, there's going to be a raffle where you can enter into each month, get a chance to win some little handmade crochet item that I did, which I will get to eventually. But yeah, we like the pumpkin, tiny pumpkin that I made. Pumpkin, 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 and an apple. Those are things that I crocheted, and they're very cute. Adorable. Pumpkin. It's the Pumpkin King. It's time. Na, 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 na. I know that it's September. I'm definitely one of those people who's going to be deeply annoying and, like, starting in August. Like, it's spooky time now. It's officially spooky time. I'm sorry, did you say it was 98 degrees outside today? I think it's spooky time. Did you see the comic of, like, the black and white comic, and she's, like, smashing, like, she's, like, trying to nail a coffin shut on, like, summertime? That's me. Like, summertime's like, I'm still here, excuse me, and it's like, no, I said it was spooky time. Oh my god, Mama Mephistopheles. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not even wrong. As October draws closer, as an NSFW trans femme content creator, I have to make a decision about a pumpkin. I mean, you do have to make that decision. You do. I think you might as well feed into the meme. Just get a small pumpkin so that, the density of goop inside. Oh my god, anyway. You're better at crafts than my great aunts were. I appreciate it. I just am a perfectionist, Oh gosh. Have you ever entered anything in the state fair? Oh, I'm definitely not going to do that. I just like to do individual items and then never do the same thing again, apparently. I need to start figuring out how to make the same object twice, because that's something that I'm not really mentally good at doing. Anyway, goodness gracious, there's like 76 people in here, so we should probably start talking about the news. Thank you all for hanging out with me so far today. I appreciate you. We are going to do the thing now where we talk about KOSA. God, I wish I had some fucking chapstick. That's the new See a Man About a Horse. Butt-free content. No butts in the content. Oh my god, I'm gonna sneeze. Am I gonna sneeze? Cool. I did it. Oh boy, I love news. It's definitely never horrifying. Yeah. So we have one thing we're definitely going to talk about today, and it's the thing in the title of the stream, okay? You clicked the stream. You know what we're talking about. It's the Kids Online Safety Act, right? There are other news items that we could talk about afterwards if my voice is still holding up. My voice is kind of thrashed because I breathed so much dust this weekend, and I talked a lot. So I'm going to do my best to, like, you know, do a solid, decent, chunky segment on this Kids Online Safety Act thing. And then after that, the possibilities are endless, okay? I have literally like 3 other major news stories that we could talk about. We could talk about Project 25, which is like, it's kind of representing itself as like the official plan for Republican, like if we get a Republican president in, like this is kind of the Republicans' semi-official plan. Like who curated this thing? I don't actually know that I figured that out. It's called the Presidential Transition Project. It's from the Heritage Foundation. So it's like, I guess whichever, if there's a candidate who's going to listen to them, basically. It's the GOP plan to open a portal to hell. Truly. It's just going to be Doom 2016 in here. So there's that. And then we have Texas Republicans trying to limit women's ability to travel out of the state because of the suspicion of them getting an abortion, basically. So that's another main news story. And then what was the other one that we had? There was another thing. A raid on Marion County, on the Marion County Record. Oh yeah, that's in Kansas. I read about this like a few weeks ago. There was a newspaper that got raided by the police in a pretty egregious breach of the First Amendment. And one of the head people at the newspaper like died of a sudden like heart attack or something because of the stress of the investigation. And like they literally ransacked the offices and the editors' homes and like stole all of their materials for trying to put out the newspaper. So that's pretty effed up. But those are like the things that are on the list for potentially discussion today. I do not know if I'm going to be up to it beyond like the Kids Online Safety Act thing, you know? He died because of a heart attack during the raid, if I remember right. Yeah, we can read more about it as well. So 77 viewers in here. Hit the like button if you haven't, because we're about to start our segment about the Kids Online Safety Act and actually talk about this thing and see what like Aaron Reed has to say and all that. Drink some water. I'm going to drink some water. Hail Hydrate. If you are not hydrated, then you should make that happen. Get yourself a little snacky if you want to. Settle in, because this is not going to be... it's not going to be good. It's like, so many of our segments begin this way. Like, well... This one is weird. It's so weird how many different things they have in the bill itself. People... You know, I'm saying I'm not going to be able to do all of that, beloved Panda. Like, some of that's going to have to wait until Thursday. And then, like, you just gotta hope that nothing else major happens between now and Thursday when you're putting off these giant segments until then. On a quick wholesome note, your stream frame, the eye and the name and stuff, inspired me to make one for my own streams. It's simple for now, but I can always make it more advanced later. That's awesome. That's a give credit to EB the Purple, because EB the Purple is responsible for drawing that art and all of the emojis. So if you're on the website chat, which, by the way, if you're hanging out on the YouTube chat, I have a website. It's like Vash's website and Demon Mama's website and all them. And it's the top link in the description. You can come hang out in our private chat where we have hookers and blackjack. I've been up since 3 a.m. Go to sleep. What are you doing? Anyway, I'm gonna drink some water. I need a warm drink for my ouchies, but it's too hot. Yeah, I keep craving hot chocolate, and then I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to get sick. So I'm kind of just like, I really, 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 really want some, though. I might have to do it later tonight. It's me. I'm the hookers. Exactly. We love sex workers here. Big fan of y'all. Big fan of you folks. I get up almost every morning at 4:30 a.m. Yeah, but you either go to sleep at a decent time or you're getting to that point in your life where you don't need that much sleep. Because that happens to people gradually over time, right? Like, the older you get, the less sleep you need. Anyway, okay, so I've been hearing so much about the Kids Online Safety Act, and I've been kind of putting off going into an in-depth segment, but we're seeing some kind of blatant anti-queer sentiment regarding this law coming up, like some admissions that, yes, this thing is written very broadly, and the intention of it being written in the way that it is, kind of broadly, is that we're going to crack down on specifically LGBTQ people. Yeah, curious. Weird how that works. What's up, Silent? Hopefully you are having a good day. I feel like my day has been a little bit medically weird, but other than that, pretty good, you know? So I do have the actual law open right now that we can look at in a second, but for initially, I just kind of want to look at, you know, what's the coverage on this? What are people saying about this so far? So we're currently looking at this. Kids Online Safety Act would target trans content. Senator confirms. Let's see. U.S. lawmakers. Let me make this a little bit bigger because I know you guys are seeing it in the small little window there now. Oh, isn't that lovely? Oh my gosh, I'm so psyched. Let me change the thingy, actually. The guest. You need to say something else. Okay. Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. There we go. Oh, isn't that lovely? Isn't she lovely? Yeah, knives. Anyway, so here we go. It says U.S. lawmakers are coming for the free and open internet in the name of child safety, and now they're even saying the quiet part out loud. That's always the story, right? A vague law that will clearly be weaponized against queer people. Then when you mention that, they say, oh, but the law doesn't explicitly say that. It happens every time. It happens literally every time. We were talking about, like, the Don't Say Gay bill. We've been talking about this for, like, how long ago was that? 8 months ago? I don't even know. Was it, like, 8 months ago? I genuinely think that it might have been that long ago that the Don't Say Gay bill was happening in Florida. And it's like, oh, no, that doesn't even say gay in the bill. How could this target you? How could this target trans people? But now they're not even bothering to obscure their intentions, right? Hit like if you're not surprised that the Republicans are increasingly mask off about how much they're willing to curtail the rights and freedoms of queer people, you know? So in recent years, numerous bills have cropped up to chip away at internet privacy and security. We had FOSTA SESTA, of course, a few years back in 2018, which did weaken Section 230 of the 96 Communications Decency Act, which means that, like, you know, social platforms and websites are liable for, quote, sexual solicitation posts. Does anybody remember the Craigslist personal ads as a concept? And it's, like, gone now. And then does anybody remember how a bunch of sex workers had to turn to street work because they couldn't continue the work online that they were doing? And, like, then consequently also the websites that they were using to vet which individuals were going to potentially harm them, like, went down, and so they couldn't vet clients, and so a bunch of women just kind of fucking disappeared. Anybody remember that? Yeah, that was like 5 years ago now. Great. So that was a while ago. The Earn It Act, which was introduced in 2020 and then again in 2022, but I don't think has passed yet. But that would further weaken Section 230 by requiring, like, age verification bills, or sorry, by allowing things like age verification bills, requiring porn site visitors to show an ID. And then, of course, now we're talking about the Kids Online Safety Act, quote unquote, known as KOSA, introduced in 2022 and then reintroduced this year. This is scary because it has bipartisan support and also the support of President Biden. So, this it has really strong potential to actually pass. And the ramifications of that are potentially going to be far reaching. And we will, we're going to look at this actual coverage, and then we're going to read the actual law or skim through it a little bit to kind of go through. Because, I make the claims, and I want to make sure that people know that I'm able and willing to back up the claims. If I say this is going to result in trans people potentially being banned outright or shadow banned off of social media or off of YouTube, my content could be censored in a way that it's for example, it could require age gating of my content if this law passes nationally, because of the way that the law is written. Yeah, framing your fascism around protecting the children. Liberals are just walking right into it. They just don't even notice. They're just not even paying attention. They killed Backpage. Backpage was also literally working with the FBI to catch human traffickers back when the FOSTA SESTA passed. Yeah. Who is a good alternative to Joe Biden? There is no good alternative to Joe Biden. They're going to run him. There's not even going to be any Democratic primary. They're just going to run him again. I doubt that I really hope that they pick a different VP, honestly, but they're not going to. So if Joe Biden dies during his next presidency, if he makes it anyway, it's just going to be Kamala Harris, who also sucks. But there's no good alternative to Joe Biden. We have a moderate right party and a far right party. That's what we have in the U.S. You know what I mean? Anyway, so looking at KOSA, obviously it seems positive because we want everybody, especially children, being safe online, has bipartisan support, endorsement from Joe Biden. But it's actually, in effect, going to make the internet less private, less safe, and conservatives are explicitly saying that they're going to use it to target LGBTQ content. So we have a brief interview here with Christian organization the Christian organization Family Policy Alliance, uploaded to YouTube over Labor Day weekend, where she's interviewing briefly Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn, who I hate. She is the lead co-sponsor for KOSA, and we are going to watch that in just a second. Yeah, Kamala Harris. We're loving this for a girl boss. Oh my gosh. So exciting. So who can we vote for that will support trans and gay people? Okay, let me give it to you here. I am not an electoralist. I don't think that voting is going to make a difference. I think you should still do it and vote for whoever you think is going to be the harm reduction candidate, but I don't think that it's going to do anything. I don't think it's going to change anything. You got to do something else. You can vote, but that's your bare minimum. You got to do something else. You got to support a particular politician or advocate locally. You got to do mutual aid. You got to help build systems outside of the construct of the government that's not helping you. You have to help each other. We have an economically right-wing party and a theocratic party. I mean, yeah, it's just the Overton window is totally screwed right now. Anyway, let's watch this thing. Get my sound all figured out here.
Issues like life and gender.
Okay, we'll turn this up just slightly. Perfect. All right, here we go.
Issues like life and gender. What do you think is the top issue that they should be watching and the top issue that conservatives should be taking action on right now?
Well, there are a couple of things. Of course, protecting minor children from the transgender and this culture. And
it's the first thing out of her mouth. Protecting children from the transgender in our culture. We love it. We love it.
That influence. And I would add to that, watching what's happening on social media. And I've got the Kids Online Safety Act that I think we're going to end up getting through probably this summer. This would put a duty of care and responsibility on the social media platforms.
So notice one of the things that I find really obnoxious about this Kids Online Safety Act thing is that there seems to be zero expectation that parents should be involved enough to censor what their children are coming in contact with if they individually have a concern. So like instead of leaving it to the parents' discretion of like, okay, I'm going to monitor what my kids are involved in, and I'm going to make sure that I know what they're up to and who they're watching and what ideas they're exposed to. Like, they're just taking a super paternalistic government overreach. Like, this is literally the government raising your kids for you, you know? These people complain about that conceptually, like, oh, you know, they can't be learning about this in schools. The government can't raise your kids for you. They're not allowed to tell your kids that being gay is like a natural thing that just sort of happens to people. It's like they are literally stepping in and saying, no children are allowed to know about this. I, the big hand of the government, who knows better than you, have decided that we're going to take extremely restrictive action to censor free speech on the internet. Like, we love the internet and the fact that you can just, like, you know, kind of post whatever within certain limits. You know, you have access to a lot of information. How many queer kids out there are alive today because they had access to queer resources online? You know, show of hands. How many queer people felt less alone because of queer people on the internet? You know, they want to restrict that freedom of speech and that freedom of access to information. If your state lets citizens put bills or issues on the ballot, that might be promising. Yeah, I mean, sometimes they do kick issues to the voting, and like, you know, so then places will vote for like legalization of cannabis or whatever. Like, you know, your fascist government raising your children for you. Mm-hmm.
And this is where children are being indoctrinated. Mm-hmm. They're hearing things at school, and then they're getting onto YouTube to watch a video.
So she mentioned they're hearing things at school, which means that she's also going to support legislation like a national Don't Say Gay bill, basically, which we have talked about that they've floated. And I think that there might actually have been one introduced, but it wasn't receiving bipartisan support. But they do want to limit, like, trans people and gay people can't be teachers. Like, that's what they want. They want you to be away from children. They want, like, that you can't even explain the concept of mommies and daddies. They just completely, like, much less any comprehensive queer sex ed. You know, so many queer people feel that would have been useful, like learning about not just the mechanics of like heterosexual sex and like how to be safe of STIs and stuff in that situation, but like talking specifically about queer issues. No, that's by far and away not going to happen, because they're trying to restrict even the most basic acknowledgement of queer lives. Yeah, thank fuck for the party of small government. Exactly. Maria Cantwell is a huge supporter of this bill. Your senator in Washington is a huge supporter of this bill, of course, because they probably haven't actually read it, or at least they haven't read between the lines in the way that they should.
And all of a sudden this comes to them, and they're on Snapchat or they're on Instagram, and they click on something, and the next thing you know, they're being inundated with it. Parents need to be watching.
Inundated with it, again, is transgender people as a concept, just to reiterate what we're talking about, having paused her a couple times.
This teachers need Snapchat or they're on Instagram, and they click on something, and the next thing you know, they're being inundated with it. Parents need to be watching this. Teachers need to be watching.
So she said parents need to be watching this, but she's taking the control away from parents. She's not leaving it up to parent, like, individual choice to curate their children's internet experience, you know? It's literally taking it out of their hands.
And protecting our children and making certain that they are not exposed to things that they are emotionally not mature enough to handle.
And the government is apparently going to decide what it means for a child to be emotionally mature enough to handle a concept. So that's that. That's that little interview. So yeah, it's placing the duty of care on social media sites as opposed to like on, you know, again, parents who should be responsible here to quote, prevent and mitigate harm to minors. And so, yeah, we'll look into this in a minute, but like they go so far as to like including content promoting, quote, self-harm, suicide, eating disorders, substance abuse, and sexual exploitation. Like the way that they phrase it in the actual bill makes it seem like it could potentially limit resources that help you understand or find help for mental illnesses. Honestly, like it could be so broad as to impact that level of access. And can we just take a moment to inundate each other with the transgender? Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm sending transgender vibes at you. If you're cis, no, you're not. Anyway, oh my God. So the Federal Trade Commission and individual state attorneys would be enforcing this law, as stated in the bill. Blackburn's team insists that protecting children from transgender culture and influence and KOSA are two separate points. So interestingly, yeah, Blackburn's legislative director replied to coverage of the interview, tweeting, "This is false. These are two separate issues being taken out of context. KOSA will not, nor was it designed to, target or censor any individual or community." She's trying to like run interference. What is the deal with this thing that's been happening lately where we will see something happen on camera and then immediately be gaslit about by someone? Like this person, Jamie Suskind. Bum, 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 bum. Anyway, I was cis, then Lux transed me. I'm at the critter household all the time. If that doesn't crack my egg, what makes you think you will? I guess you're just a repressor, gay fesh. You know what you are. You're just choosing to ignore it. Oh, God. Anyway, so yeah, but like how often is this going to happen? This happened with the soccer thing recently. We like witnessed a dude kiss a woman and she did not seem like she enjoyed it. And like she said that it wasn't cool. And then they were like, okay, we're going to sue her now for saying that, even though it was on camera and everybody saw it. So like we just saw her say that one of her main goals is to protect kids from seeing anything about trans people. And then she mentions KOSA and implies that those ideas are connected. So yeah, it's just like we're being gaslit about these things. It's crazy. Yeah, don't forget Republicans are going to be cool with kids not having mental illness resources. Yeah, no, for sure. They'll push this as far as they possibly can. It won't stop until the public gets tired of it. People just aren't even aware of this. And like, yeah, because of the way that the media is going to cover it, they're going to cover it seeming like, oh, this is going to make it harder for kids to access porn. And like, okay, of course anybody will get on board with that. Of course anybody's going to get on board with that. But because they broadly say like sexual content, and then at the same time they're constantly conflating trans people's existence as being a fetish. Like if you call a trans person by their preferred pronouns, you're making it so that they're going to like get off later about how sexy that was to them. Like it's a fetish to dress this way or whatever. It's so deeply frustrating. At a certain point, it's like, what do you even do with this? So KOSA may not explicitly go after it doesn't say LGBTQ content in there, you know, but it says, this person says, even without targeted measures, trans reporter, Aaron Reed. So this is from Aaron Reed's article, which I have right here. Even without targeted measures, the Kids Online Safety Act could have severely detrimental consequences to LGBTQ online content. And yeah, this article is noting that there is already a double standard. So, you know, if you all feel like it's egregious for me to say when I'm talking about this, like that trans people are potentially going to get like banned or at least shadow banned off of YouTube, Twitch, any social media, like because of the liability of hosting that, this is already happening. You know, if you follow queer sex educators, for example, like anybody who talks about sexuality and stuff like sexplanations, that channel doesn't really talk about queer sex specifically, but she does talk about it sometimes, and she gets massively shadow banned. All of her content is age gated. Sex educators literally have to move their content to porn websites. Yeah, if you're familiar with What's the Safe Word on YouTube, he's been limited for years. It's been happening for a long time that, like, our content is just scrutinized in a way that other content isn't, where, you know, there's music videos of women with their asses out, but, like, you post a much more clothed picture, or, like, you know, have much more clothed people in your content as a queer person, and you get punished for it. And people on Instagram also say, like, they're blocked when posting non-nude, non-sexual content, just basically can't get any traction on sites like Instagram, which is why I'm not on Threads, by the way. Not going on Threads. Are you kidding me? I don't want to be on yet another sex-negative website that's going to limit my existence as a queer person. Like, I don't even post sex content. I have a Safe for Work Fansly that I'm not posting on that often lately, TBH. I should get back into that soon. I just need a greater variety of outfits and clothes, I think, to choose from. So I'm not on Threads because you can't browse it on desktop. You can barely browse Instagram on desktop, too. It's pretty irritating. So it's not like this isn't already a double standard that we live under. There's already shadow banning on multiple different social media. It's not just sex workers who get targeted, but they do. Threads is packed with queer people. Well, so is Blue Sky, and I'd much rather be there. So this is going to give attorneys general a lot of just kind of free license to block content that they deem dangerous for young people on a state-by-state basis. And remember, when we're talking about attorneys general, we're talking about people like Ken Paxton, and Chris Kobach. Fuck Chris Kobach so much. I live in Kansas, and I hate him, and I want bad things to happen to him. Be it about anything from trans healthcare to substance use to gun ownership. Likely would also drive websites to use age verification to meet the requirements. It would, quote, require essentially websites to not show certain types of content to young people. But then, of course, the question is, how do they know who is a young person? Blue Sky has a pretty horrendous crybaby problem. That's fair. I'm not really on it that much anymore. I do have 2 invites to go there, though. Yeah, fake IDs for porn sites. It's about to become a much bigger a much bigger market. I'm surprised they mentioned gun ownership, TBH. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really know that actually, I don't know. We might have to switch over and start looking at the actual bill here in a second. Maybe we'll... Okay, hold on. Senator Richard Blumenthal, who co-sponsored the legislation, told Mashable in a statement, quote, "The Kids Online Safety Act does not target or censor anyone, including members of the LGBTQ community. The Kids Online Safety Act was specifically drafted to narrowly target the real deadly harms that children face online, such as eating disorders, suicide, and illicit drugs." I mean, they say eating disorders, but, like, you can't... The things that contribute to eating disorders online are, like, unrealistic body standards. So, like, what? Are you gonna just, like, start censoring any images of women who've had a Brazilian butt lift? Because that's an unrealistic body standard that contributes to eating disorders, because it's, like, impossible to reach that without literal surgery. Also kind of hard to believe when your co-sponsor literally says that the act will stop the transgender in our culture. Striking the right balance between supporting safe online spaces and protecting against toxic content targeting LGBTQ youth is very important to us. Toxic content targeting LGBTQ youth. What does that even mean? Excuse me. Which is why my staff and I had extensive and collaborative conversations with stakeholders, including LGBTQ groups. Oh, do you mean like Gays Against Groomers or something? That would be great. To further clarify the legislative text so that it better reflects the reintroduced version, the intent of the bill. These changes reflect the introduced version of the bill. We will always have an open door to communities, blah, blah, blah. Holding big tech accountable. So what does Aaron have to say about this? Does Aaron say anything particularly illuminating? I know that that's really tiny for you guys. I'm sorry. I'll make it bigger. Some of the bill's provisions could easily have been penned by the most fervent anti-LGBTQ advocates who are pushing targeted legislation against trans individuals in the U.S. this year. Many aspects of KOSA are commendable, such as incentivizing social media platforms to curb compulsive usage among minors and bolstering privacy protections. However, certain elements are ripe for exploitation against trans content. So yeah, looking at the duty of care, she says, although transition has been proven to improve mental health among transgender people and reduce risk of suicide, Republicans and state legislatures across the United States this year have issued faulty arguments that being transgender, quote, harms minors' mental health, and that exposure to trans content and people is dangerous. Let's see. Okay, so let's look at the actual thing a little bit, shall we? Because it's, like, more far-reaching than you think it would be. Okay, my camera, are you going to just do this to me all the time now? I gotta put new camera on my wish list or something. I don't know. Any recommendations for what camera I should put on my wish list? Maybe a smaller camera than the one that I have would be good. My camera is giant. Butt lift sounds way funnier than BBL, which is how I always hear it referred. Yeah, is it overheating? I mean, like, maybe it's like a thing wrong with the power. As like every time I've looked it up, it's indicated that it's probably something with like the power supply or something. I don't know what the deal is though. It doesn't really feel all that warm. And like the screen thing is open, so it's like not retaining that much heat, you know? It's just like repeatedly turning itself off right now. I'm hoping it gets over this in a second. Yeah? Are you over it? What is up with leftist video? I don't know. Like, listen, because we're all poor. Leftists are all poor. So it's hard to spend like a couple $1,000s on a camera. You know what I mean? Like a decent quality camera. It's not inexpensive. You know? I'll definitely have to like get a replacement soon in the next year. My camera never fails. Yeah, VTuber. Shut the hell up, VTuber. Instagram and TikTok already have reels that encourage you to take a break if you've been scrolling a long time. Well, let's look at it, okay? Because we do have this part up front talking about, like, these are definitions. So the term compulsive usage within this law means any response stimulated by external factors that causes an individual to engage in repetitive behavior reasonably likely to cause psychological distress. So like one of the things that they're going to get rid of is like autoplay. Like literally, okay, like listen. Covered platforms, exceptions. Mental health disorder. The term mental health disorder has the meaning given the term mental health disorder in the DSM. Minor online platform, parent, personal data, personalized. Okay, these are all definitions, which we will get to. Okay, so duty of care. A covered platform shall act in the best interests of a user that the platform knows or reasonably should know is a minor by taking reasonable measures in its design and operation of products and services to prevent and mitigate the following. So again, there's the question of like, how are you supposed to know or reasonably know that a user is a minor? We don't know how that's going to be. Like each individual platform is going to have to do it differently. So age verification, or I mean, I literally don't know what else you could do unless you either make age verification through ID a thing, or you have to make fundamental changes to your platform in order for it to be following these rules, no matter the age of the person who's using your site, right? So it says, consistent with evidence-informed medical information, the following mental health disorders, like to prevent and mitigate the following on your platforms, these mental health disorders: anxiety, depression, eating disorders, substance use disorders, and suicidal behaviors. So it's like, okay, to mitigate those things on your website, do you mean like mitigate positive representations? Does it mean mitigate any representations? Is this going to result in fewer resources allowing people to understand their mental health struggles? Like, reading the news causes anxiety and depression. Exactly. So it's not specific enough to really say what exactly is it that you're trying to prevent and mitigate? Like literally any discussion of substance abuse disorders or like suicidal behaviors, like are like suicide prevention hotlines not going to be allowed to advertise to minors? Like, okay, we don't know. Patterns of use that indicate or encourage addiction-like behaviors, physical violence, online bullying and harassment of the minor, sexual exploitation and abuse. This is the one that, like, I don't know. They had a very specific definition of sexual exploitation that, like, referred to other laws, so it wasn't really, like, I didn't want to go into the whole detail of it. Promotion and marketing of narcotic drugs, tobacco products, gambling, or alcohol. Okay, so again, like Google AdSense going to have to like make sure that if the teenager gets on the family computer, they somehow magically know not to serve alcohol advertisements, even though usually it's an adult using that computer? Like, I don't know. Predatory, unfair, or deceptive marketing practices or other financial harms. Limitation. Nothing in this section shall be construed to require a covered platform to prevent or preclude a minor from deliberately and independently searching for the content. The covered platform or individuals on the platform from providing resources for the prevention or mitigation of suicidal behaviors, substance abuse, and other harms, including evidence-informed information and clinical resources. Okay, but it doesn't actually say mental health in this. Interestingly, it was like certain mental illnesses shall not be discussed, but it doesn't create an exception here for that. It does create an exception for the prevention and mitigation of suicidal behaviors and substance use. So yeah, they did make a little exception there, right? Exactly, yeah, LGBTQ resources are actually evidence-informed suicide prevention sources, but they're probably still going to be limited. Let's see. A covered platform shall provide an individual that the covered platform knows or reasonably should know is a minor with readily accessible and easy-to-use safeguards, such as limiting the ability of other individuals to communicate with the minor. Like, you can't private message them or whatever, which, like, I could see being useful in certain situations. Preventing other users, registered or not, from viewing the minor's personal data. And limiting public access to personal data for those minors, which is good, obviously. Limit features that increase, sustain, or extend use of the covered platform by the minor, such as automatic playing of media. So listen, again, either you're going to have to create a different website experience for minors, or you're going to have to get rid of autoplay entirely. I wonder if an incognito tab would bypass all of this. I don't know. What's up, Hellhound? Welcome in. I bet any positive representation of fat people will be targeted under eating disorders while leaving ridiculously thin people alone. Right, like, you know, when we're talking about supporting certain public health or certain images or like certain harms, like nebulous harms to children, is that going to include stuff like fat positivity? Like, is that going to be not allowed because you're glorifying an unhealthy lifestyle kind of thing, you know? There are to be no rewards for time spent on the platform, which I think means that you wouldn't be allowed to have bits on Twitch for minors. You know, when you're like sitting there watching a Twitch streamer and you get the little bits and you can spend them. Maybe you'll get like, ooh, if you wait long enough, you can get one emoji. I think that for minors, that would not be allowed because it's a reward for remaining on the platform. Notifications. Wait. Limiting features such as notifications for minors. I hadn't caught that before. So literally a minor's account would be exempt from receiving any type of notifications. Some of this stuff actually makes sense because it addresses real problems. Yeah, like honestly, I don't hate that like I don't know, like adults DMing children can be like harmful, definitely. At the same time, sometimes teenagers reach out to queer adults because they need a queer adult to tell them that their life is not going to end, you know, like, so it's like, it's a double-edged sword in a way. Like, again, I just think that this goes back to parental involvement. I just think that parents need to be more aware of what their children are doing, and that this is not something that the government should be stepping in on. But that's the thing about fascism, is that for so many things they claim, oh, we want this to be up to the parents, up to the parents, up to the parents. It should be up to the parents to decide whether to teach about queer people. So we're going to limit like the rights of parents to let their kids access this stuff, because they're making it carte blanche illegal in schools and online. So it's like your parents have to actively seek out those resources and click the I am 18 button for you to learn very basic information about the existence of trans and queer people. If the minor is actively searching for things, there's no way to actually stop them. Well, yeah, so that was an exception that they made earlier. It said that, like, these websites will not be held liable for if, like, a kid Googles something, I guess. Like, then, you know, they've actively sought it out. But they want to curtail the whole concept of, like, you could just stumble upon this by happenstance, you know? As though we can like, they're trying to sanitize the internet in a way that it's harder to sanitize the real world. Make no mistake, they are trying to sanitize the real world by limiting things like drag. Tennessee tried to make it illegal to cross-dress in public for anyone, so any trans person representing their true gender in the way that they dress in public would have been targeted and limited in their rights. But that was stopped. An injunction, and I think it was even struck down finally because of the obvious limitation on the First Amendment that represents. If we decided back in the 80s that you couldn't punish kids for wearing like a peace sign on their sleeve because that's freedom of expression or freedom of speech, essentially, you know, then you can't limit a quote biological man from wearing a skirt either, you know, just because you think that it's a fetish of some kind. So, but yeah, it's interesting. Limited. Oops, sorry, I hit the wrong button. Notifications being limited, and other features that result in compulsive usage of the covered platform by the minor. So no more YouTube autoplay, maybe not even like no Netflix autoplay, but like definitely no like Reels autoplay. To control personalized recommendation systems, including the right to opt out of such personalized recommendation systems while still allowing the display of content based on a chronological format. So they're also trying to limit like targeted advertisements to children, which I don't hate. Limiting types or categories of recommendations from such systems, and restricting the sharing of the geolocation of the minor. Of course, that's obvious, and provide notice regarding the tracking of the minor's geolocation. I hope that wouldn't end up getting in the way of services that adults are using to keep track of their children, you know? Tracking of the minor's geolocation. Because some people use their phones to be like, okay, I know where my kid is at all times, you know, because they're going to have their phone with them. I figured out how to use proxy servers and construct a rudimentary VPN as a 12-year-old Mormon kid to get access to porn. Kids are going to do it. I mean, yeah, it's true. You know, like, even in the most sex-repressed evangelical communities, someone out there has a porno mag, and the kids will stash it in the woods and gape at it in wonder together. I'm thinking of a specific story of some evangelical kids who grew up in the 80s. I love listening to the words of Jeffrey Marsh. Jeffrey Marsh is so wonderful. I hate that such kind souls like that are being restricted and limited and attacked in this way. Yes, covered platforms shall provide individuals with easy options to delete the minor's account and data. Limiting the amount of time spent by the minor on the covered platform. Not a horrendous concept. I knew a kid in my group home at age 16 who drew his own porn. If you're that listen, if you can't get a hold of it, just got here. Some of these actually make sense. Did I miss anything particularly upsetting? We're kind of getting closer to the parts that are going to be very more obviously targeting, potentially targeting trans and queer content. Not going to lie, most of this would be good if applied evenly and fairly, even to adults, but I know it won't be. Right. I'm pretty sure that's where furry artists came from, just drawing their own porn. also requires that they provide tools for parents to readily and easily limit their kids' access to certain stuff, whatever. The parental tools provided by a covered platform shall include the ability to manage the privacy. In the case of a user that the platform knows or reasonably should know as a child, change and control the privacy and account settings. More robust privacy settings would not be bad in general, and especially for kids, I could see that being a benefit. Let me see. This is long, so I'm going to start scrolling through and seeing... Let's see. Advertising of illegal products. I can't believe that I've made this part of my life. Dark patterns prohibition. Interesting. Disclosure. Parental notification. Rulemaking. Advertising and marketing. Part of the problem with this is that it gives such broad discretion to states to start interfering with all kinds of different mechanisms online, and like changing privacy settings and like who has access to privacy. Like, it's not necessarily good in here that they're requiring, seen already when trans kids, like, I mean, you know, obviously she wasn't a minor, but if you think of Eden, you know, Eden Knight, who passed away a few months ago, like, if she was a minor, then it would have been even easier for her parents to get into her shit and, like, you know, delete her accounts on her behalf and stuff like this. And she's like, she was an adult and still was put in a situation where she was being controlled in that manner and ended up committing suicide after being deported from this country, you know? Like, that's not a good thing always, like, for parents to just be able to get into it. Like, these are always they're either making the assumption that parents always have their kids' best interests at heart, truly, genuinely, that they are always going to be doing this in a way that is protecting them. So they either really believe that, or they know for a fact that abusive parents are going to destroy the lives and control their trans and queer children, and isolate them and cause them all kinds of mental health issues. Like, I think that they know that, right? Like, they have to know that. Why are you guys talking about movie theaters and stuff now? I'm like, I was like, oh, has anybody said anything relevant to what I'm talking about? But you guys are talking about something totally different. We're so close to 100 likes. Do it. Okay. I wonder if I should just do a search for, like, sexual to see what are the descriptions of, like, sexual content that it might have in it. Just gonna keep scrolling for a minute here. Reasonable inspection. Let's drink water while we're in the middle of trying to find specific stuff in this giant long law. Privacy safeguards. Independent research. Scope of application. The requirements of this subsection shall apply to a covered platform if they've averaged more than 10 million active users on a monthly basis, and the platform predominantly provides a community forum for user-generated content and discussion, including sharing videos, like this platform, images, games, audio files, discussion in a virtual setting, or other content such as acting as a social media platform, virtual reality environment, or social network services. This is like, we're on page 34 right now. This is all about like researcher permissions and stuff. Market research. Age verification study and report. The director of the National Institute of Standards and Technology, in coordination with the FCC, FTC, and Secretary of Commerce, shall conduct a study evaluating the most technologically feasible methods and options for developing systems to verify age at the device or operating system level. So they are going to enforce some kind of like, you have to have an ID of some kind or other age verification in order to use the device or to use the operating system, to be on the apps at all. Probably something to do with the prurient. You're right, the prurient interests thing. Guidance. Oh, hold on, what is this? I wanted to at least scroll through and see if I could find it myself, but I will do a Control F for prurient in a minute. Should I make mac and cheese or tacos for dinner? I mean, if you were making dinner and it was for me, I would be saying tacos. And also, like, tacos have more protein in them than mac and cheese does. Okay, now we're on enforcement. So let's do a search for prurient. Oh, no prurient in here. Okay. I do want to remark before I start reading into this sexual exploitation and abuse section that when they say like mental illness as defined in the DSM, let's not forget that gender dysphoria is still a diagnosis in the DSM. So when they're saying we want to limit I think that might actually be the crux issue, you know, because in the sexual exploitation part of this, it's like any of the following: coercion and enticement, as described in this other thing, sexual abuse material, such as child sexual abuse material, trafficking for the production of images, and sex trafficking of children, right? So I actually think that the part of this that could be broadly applied to trans people, and I will fight people who think that like gender dysphoria is like the thing that should define your existence as a trans person, because this is why. Because they'll call it a mental illness and they'll say, well, you're just supporting delusion and you're supporting mental illness if you're posting pro-trans content. Having read this and having tried to find exactly where it is that this like loosely worded thing could apply to us, I think that's where it is. Because if they're saying, you know, eating disorders, mental illnesses as defined in the DSM, they didn't explicitly mention gender dysphoria, but they're just saying like certain mental illnesses such as substance abuse, depression, anxiety, blah, blah, blah. You know, if the content is supporting that, quote unquote, I think that this could very easily be twisted because it's going to be left up to the individual states to enforce that law in particular and like decide what it is that is potentially harmful to children, you know? Yeah, I don't disagree that being trans should be based more on like euphoria rather than dysphoria. Yeah, like so mental health disorder, based on the term in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, and we're going to limit certain information about that. And because we happen to know that the evidence-based practice of treating gender dysphoria is like treatment related to transition. Oh, thanks for subscribing, Justin. Wow, thank you so much. Oh my God. How sweet of you to help the stream like that. Oh, wasn't that so nice? I saw your message before you deleted it. The evidence-based practice obviously has borne out, but all of these Republicans are just basically disregarding that information and saying, oh, well, we've decided that those studies are biased, or they don't say what they actually say. Yeah, there was an idiot in the YouTube chat that said that they identified as an attack helicopter. You know, they only have the one joke. They have one brain cell and they're sharing it, and because they've passed it around so many times, it's sticky and kind of stinks. So it's not working too good anymore. Yeah. Let me call 2014 because they want their joke back. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, dude. Enjoy your time out. That's permanent. Yes, people still earnestly using that joke. Don't worry, he caught a ban. It's fine. It's really funny because on my YouTube chat, you actually have to subscribe, and you have to be subscribed for 1 full minute before you can comment. So this dude really came in here and was like, I'm gonna subscribe and then wait 1 solid minute and then say that I identify as an attack helicopter. Like, wow, you've really got dedication to the harassment that you're doing. It's pretty cute. It's pretty cute. It's the poopy brain cell. Oh, I was insinuating that they had all cummed all over it. That was the joke that I was making. Yeah. Are you triggered, liberal? I'm so triggered. Oh my God. Oh gosh. So that's my read of it, at least. I actually wonder, going back to Erin Reed's article, if she caught the same thing that I did. Yeah, she says the section raising the most eyebrows is dubbed duty of care. According to the bills, social media companies are required to implement measures to prevent and mitigate issues like, quote, anxiety, depression, eating disorders, substance abuse disorders, and suicidal behaviors. She says, yes, although transition has been proven to improve mental health among trans people and reduce the risk of suicide, Republicans and state legislatures across the U.S. this year have issued faulty arguments that being trans, quote, harms minors' mental health, and that exposure to trans content and people is dangerous. Later, the bill empowers state attorneys general to file suit to force compliance with the bill. So individual states can take action against any websites that are not adequately censoring, access to information about being trans. Damn, imagine sitting there for a full minute being like, yeah, this is a good idea. Imagine being like, yeah, this is a good way to spend my time. Just harassing a random queer creator. Thanks, dude. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate you. The engagement literally helps the channel. So, thanks. Oh, God. And then, yeah, of course, Erin continues by saying, those who have been monitoring these actions of the state attorneys general, like I said, again, Ken Paxton, Chris Kobach, the potential weaponization of this is abundantly clear. Ken Paxton made headlines by issuing a directive to investigate all parents of trans youth for child abuse, which nearly resulted in these children being removed from their families. The courts blocked this directive. Missouri Attorney General criminalized access to health care for trans minors and adults by decree. Those were blocked by the courts as well. 7 state attorneys general co-signed a letter arguing that LGBTQ plus merchandise should be classified as obscene and detrimental to minors. In Montana, a bill was nearly amended to ban, quote, acts of transgenderism on the internet as being harmful to minors. So given this context, obviously easy to foresee how this could be weaponized. I could think up a couple more original transphobic jokes while waiting that minute. Skill issue. Yeah, skill issue. Get better jokes. It's just, at a certain point, it's like, I mean, you're just doing a transphobia. You know what you're doing. I love doing acts of transgenderism. It's my favorite thing to do. Acts of transgenderism, you know, such as wearing my pronoun pin and doing weird queer shit, you know? I just get gayer and gayer every year. You'll never stop me. True, Mama Mephistopheles, this is a good question. We saw how companies have responded to the right, harassing them for putting up rainbows during Pride. So how are commercial websites going to respond to similar actions from these attorneys general? I mean, again, it just seems like, you know, with Target at the very minimum, Target was like, oh my God, there's bomb threats, which like, I guess you could do bomb threats against Facebook's or YouTube's offices. You know, YouTube has an address, technically. I know this because I get tax information from them every year. But yeah, like, I don't know that there's the same threat to the public involved, but people can still call in bomb threats. And so maybe they will be like, yeah, actually, we are going to pause this support. And, you know, oh, if we get sued, what are we going to do? You know? So I think that the, you know, websites like YouTube, one of the primary mechanisms that they have is the just straight up age gating your content, which, if you weren't aware, also screws your ad revenue, and it makes it to where you don't show up in searches. So that's what we're talking about when we say shadow banning. It's not necessarily going to be the case that my channel gets deleted, right? But the content in which I talk about being trans, you know, maybe the content where I don't acknowledge my transness could slip under the radar, right? If it gets reported enough times, I think it could still get taken down, which is kind of the way that the system works right now, is trans and queer people who are following the rules can still have their content unfairly taken down because of mass flag initiatives. We should reclaim the attack helicopter as a xenogender. True. Marsha kind of gave the game away too with her nonsensical "the transgender" comment. Yeah, like it's clearly intended to have this effect. They've stated it out loud that her primary concern is limiting the access of children to see things about the transgender in our culture. So the bill can omit a specific mention of trans and queer people or gender dysphoria if it wants to. That doesn't change the material potential impact of such broadly written legislation. Oh yeah, and so even further to demonstrate that this is not a matter of speculation, certain organizations have explicitly stated these intentions, such as in an article from the Heritage Foundation titled "How Big Tech Turns Kids Trans." It voiced its support for the legislation. When advocates highlighted that this right-wing organization, a staunch supporter of KOSA, advocating for using the bill in this manner, the Heritage Foundation doubled down, stating that, quote, "Keeping trans content away from children is protecting kids. No child should be conditioned to think that permanently damaging their healthy bodies to try to become something they can never be is even remotely a good idea." And then, yeah, this is, again, we're quoting Marsha Blackburn in her interview that we watched earlier. So even without targeted measures, this can definitely have consequences for LGBT content. Social media platforms are already known for self-censoring content, as we've talked about earlier. LGBT content faces demonetization, removal, or shadow banning. Some content moderators work in social or cultural contexts where LGBTQ activities are either illegal or socially stigmatized. So there is insufficient training, which can result in unwarranted suppression of legitimate LGBTQ content. So increasing the likelihood of censorship. And yeah, I mean, there are other potential changes, like we went over, like the removal of autoplay and other privacy impositions on minors. Like, you know, it's already difficult enough if you are in the kind of environment where your parent would be taking your device from you in order to see what you're doing, but to not even have the option to have that be like, oh, my trans stuff can be private. Does that, you know how like the Trevor Project has a hard escape thing? It's like if you press escape twice on your keyboard, then the website will close and it will delete itself automatically from your search history so that your parents won't beat the shit out of you for being on a queer related support website. Does that mean that those quick deletes have to be removed? Young people will learn how to hack better out of this. I mean, I hope so. I honestly think that despite all of this, the idea that this generation is so tech savvy, I really don't think they're that good at their tech stuff. They can use an iPhone, but that doesn't mean that they know how to use a VPN or how to access media that has been blocked from their access. I don't actually think that we're raising a generation of hackers. I think that people just are using their devices that are not really meant to be that complicated. They're buying a new one every couple years kind of thing. It's weird that I have a desktop computer that I use all the time. Statistically speaking, this is pretty uncommon. I watched one ContraPoints video and I caught the trends. Now I'm addicted to HRT. Aren't we all? And that's what we have to protect our kids from, is being lifetime customers to big pharma with their constant need for hormones, unlike people who need insulin and antipsychotics and blood pressure medication, unlike all those people, we have to specifically prevent this lifelong exploitation by big pharma. Yeah, it's the only thing that big pharma is bad for. We're going to come out against, trans-affirming surgeries and meanwhile continue to allow 16-year-old girls to go get boob jobs and nose jobs with their mom on the weekend. You know what I mean? And of course, as we've mentioned before, rhinoplasty and boob jobs have a pretty significant rate of regret compared to all trans surgeries. So, but again, it's facts just don't matter. It's it doesn't matter how many times you say this is an evidence-based practice that is going to save lives and help people, including children. And it doesn't matter how many trans adults out there say this saved my life, or I regret being forced to go through this puberty or whatever. It's because they want to normalize us. It's always, at the end of the day, just never going to make a difference. Because facts don't matter when you're fighting against fascism, And it's that's the thing that it's so frustrating, because I do care about facts, and I care about, I'm not going to misrepresent this. When we say this could have deep ramifications for the existence of trans people on the internet, on social media in general, I'm going to go through and I'm going to read the law to back up what I'm saying. But these people don't feel any particular need to actually represent the truth, because they're not motivated by truth. They're motivated by a desire for power or bigotry or some combination of these. I don't, it's impossible to say, but the material impact is that I literally just don't know about specifically the YouTube platform. How is this going to work for trans content creators who are already frequently demonetized? Most of my live streams are limited advertisements, but I assume that it's because I cuss so much. That's always my assumption, most of my regular videos don't really get caught in that way, because I censor my cussing, and I try to keep the content within those rules or whatever. And I'm a small enough content creator that I don't have a history of mass reporting and temporarily having a strike on my channel for those things, because I think that harms your channel over time. So the only thing saving my content so far is that I'm flying under the radar of a lot of these harassment campaigns. But if a law like this passes, I don't know what is going to happen to our community as a whole, like all of the trans and queer people who are on this platform. They're motivated by their own internal truth. They would rather burn the world down than admit to being wrong about anything. In the end, I truly believe most of it is pure ego. I don't know what could possibly be motivating them other than they're trying to steal power and steal, honestly, I would not be surprised if this is them just trying to wedge in so that they can gradually reduce the ability for certain people to organize. Queer people are so heavily involved in the organization, and like so many of us are intensely leftist, and so many of us are pro-gun ownership, and like we're against policing, and we want degrowth. Many of us do. So it's interesting as a particular angle to view it at, to say maybe limiting queer access online is the first step to limiting political organization in general, I guess, is the point that I'm trying to get toward here. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. It feels like they're motivated by the worst of human emotions: fear, disgust, anxiety, greed, apathy, insecurity, etc. I mean, yeah, it doesn't ultimately matter, to be clear. The harm is the harm, right? But it is curious to think, are they actually feeling any of those emotions? I guess apathy, whatever. Like, or is it strictly 1984 level, the purpose of power is power, and we don't really care who dies or, like, what happens to any of you as a result? Excuse me. They're chopping at our legs so they can get to the rest of us. Yeah, I guess I'm sort of implying the first they came for the communists thing. Is that Umberto Eco? Is that who that is? Yeah, like it's straight up 1984. Like, I really don't think that any of these politicians who claim to be motivated by religious, like, fervor or a desire to protect children, like, I think that they're all liars. I think they might be all liars. Similar thing with climate change denial. It's just like Hank Green just posted a video on his channel about how he's like, I think that all climate deniers might just be lying. And it's like, yeah, I actually don't know if any of these people are motivated by anything honest, or if it's just money and power. The lower tier people run on fear, the higher ups run on greed. I think that's fair enough. Like, they do manipulate their base, and so the base is motivated by fear. I will say that, like, people who are not in political positions of power and yet are supporting the right wing, those people are mostly just brainwashed, and they might earnestly believe, that there is a religious reason or that there is a protect the children reason. Like, people who I know in my actual life have said to me that they are not comfortable with trans people in bathrooms. And I'm like, well, congratulations, you got what you wanted. I can't use the bathrooms in the state that I was born in without potentially getting the cops called on me. Like, regardless of which one I use. Because even cisgender women get kicked out of cisgender women's bathrooms if they are not conforming enough, Like, you literally are not safe if you are in any way gender nonconforming. They have to use someone as a wedge to go after other groups. When they've totally eliminated one group, they move on to the next. Fascism requires the acts of excluding and scapegoating. Oh, and the group it gets smaller and smaller, where you initially are like, it's about the Aryan race. It's about the disabilities. Get the disabled people out of here. Get the Romani people out of here. Get the queers out of here, Like, like the Ernst Röhm participation trophy, It's like, dude, did you think that you weren't going to be included in that subsection of, like, the queers just because you happen to be, like, Aryan or whatever? I don't actually know if Ernst Röhm was even fitting the fitting the ideal of an Aryan, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, gay dude tries to be one of the higher ups in the Nazi regime and does end up still getting cucked. You know what like, it's never going to work. I've been hassled for having large feet in the bathroom. Someone thought I was a man because my feet are large. Like, dude, transvestigation 24/7. Should we make a reality TV show about transvestigation? At least then, like, some trans people are gonna make money off of it, right? Like, some trans people have to make money off of it. What's up, Anansi? You're just coming in at the end, basically, of a very long, not great segment, you know? And that's true. Even when they do have total white supremacy and patriarchy, we will see that they then go after Italians and Irish people and Catholics, you know? Then it'll be Catholics again that they're so fucking butthurt about. They will never be satisfied. So, support the rainbowpassage.org. Get queer people into safer places by supporting nonprofits and individual mutual aid funds that are attempting to move people out of those areas, you know? All right, I'm done talking about that now. I need to drink water. The only good Nazis are Daleks. Are they good? I mean, they're kind of good at being Nazis, I guess, except that they keep getting thwarted by the Doctor. Do you ever think about, spoilers, the fact that the Doctor, like, killed his own children? It's, like, super fucked up thing that you don't really think about that much. I'm finally moving out of Florida to Washington. Yes! That's such an intense move. That's huge. Man, I hope you have a good plan for, like, stopping at certain places and, like, getting to see cool shit on your way across the country. Like, that's such a great opportunity. And also probably kind of sucks a lot because, yeah, from the bad corner to the good corner. Hell yeah. Well, the Doctor has committed genocide before, so... Well, what I'm saying is, Anansi, when the Doctor, like, he's the one who pulled the trigger and, like, basically, to his perspective, like, destroyed Gallifrey and the Daleks, right? And, like, we found out in the Christmas special that that's not exactly how it went down, but that's how he remembers it for most of his life, right? Is that he killed Gallifrey and he had children. And he frequently, like, it's not infrequent in those early seasons for him to disclose, like, I was a father once, you know? And, like, if you know he's the last Time Lord, his kids were probably on Gallifrey. Like, he probably knew in the moment that he did the thing, which, of course, again, we found out later that it wasn't that. But, like, yeah, he thought what he was doing was... Or he thought later that what it was that he killed his children, basically. And, like, his mate... and his parents, potentially, you know? Oh, this is a fun question that I had while I was on the toilet last night. There is an episode, so the Doctor's wife, when they go to that, like, the drain hole at the end of the universe planet, and the TARDIS ends up in the body of a woman, he's like, oh, the Corsair, I'm getting a message from the Corsair. That would be so cool if he survived. You know, most of the time he regenerated as a man and had this tattoo, but except that one time that she regenerated as a woman and, like, whoo, she was a bad girl. You know, is it normal that Time Lords, like, do stupid shit and die and therefore regenerate? Or can you just regenerate, like, when you feel like it? That's the question that I have. I guess if you know that you could regenerate, then that would sort of give you a little bit of a carte blanche permission to do stupid shit that you could die about, you know? Like, but if you were a Time Lord and you were like, yeah, I would like to regenerate into a different gendered body now. Like, I'm tired of being a woman. I want to be a man Time Lord now. Could you just do it, like, because you want to? Or would you have to, like, like, stab yourself or something, you know? It probably makes them more foolhardy. Yeah, of course. Yeah, like, that's part of the idea that I have. No, I don't think so. You don't think that they would, that they could just do it because they felt like it? We've seen Time Lords control their regeneration, but I don't think they can regenerate without injury. Yeah, so I guess they just do stupid stuff a lot. Or maybe it's just that the Doctor and the Corsair are both the kind of vagabonds who do stupid shit that makes them I haven't watched since mid-Capaldi era. I watched the first season of Capaldi, and then I was like, I'm out. I haven't watched anything past that. I do intend to, at some point, finish catching up, I guess. I don't know. I had very specific reasons for stopping watching it. I've watched about half of the first season with Whittaker, and it's just bad. Oh no. Part of a cosmic lesson of some sort. Each incarnation is a duty and an education at the same time. Maybe. I heard they brought back David Tennant again. I heard they brought him back for like a Christmas special or something. I love David Tennant so much. I've been wanting a female Doctor forever, and it's fucking stupid that they made the season with Whittaker suck. Yeah, I kind of assumed that it would feel less and less like the Doctor. Because it was, I don't know, it was just stupid. I just ended up hating Clara so much. I was like, I hate watching women who are written by men. It's just fucking annoying. Unless they're women who are written by George R.R. Martin. In which case, please, thoughts on gay black Doctor. I thought that it was not just gay black Doctor. I thought that Shuti's representation of the Doctor was meant to be non-binary. But I mean, cool. That's neat. Do I think that they made that creative decision for like an earnest reason, or do I think that they cast a gay black man to be the Doctor because they wanted woke points? I think it was more because they wanted woke points. Yeah, Whittaker regened into Tennant. He'll be a temporary generation and then go into Shuti Gatwa. Mm-hmm. Been watching Good Omens recently, and David Tennant is so fine. He's on my short list. I do apparently need to watch Good Omens. It's a lot more explicitly gay than I thought it was going to be. Didn't the show always get woke points, though? Yeah, I guess they always kind of have had that, like, you know, we have a black companion and her race is not that big of a deal. Like, we're just going to brush it off in the very first episode where she travels back to Shakespeare time. Like, oh, just walk around like you own the place. Don't worry about it. Like, cool. All right. They need a non-binary Doctor. However, Turf Island would pass a brick for sure. I mean, it would be hilarious, right? Oh, God. Okay, so it's 7:39. I want to go until at least 8:30 so that we get our 3 hours in at minimum. I want to do like at minimum the 3 hours. So the question is, do we have time for another segment tonight? So I can get rid of some of these tabs from that segment because I'm done with it. I do not have the time or capacity to go into Project 25 right now. We could talk about the raid on the Marion County record. I think that that would be worth looking at and talking about. Because I also think that this abortion thing is going to be a little bit more in-depth because I have multiple links to look at with that. Or we could just dick around for the next hour, which I would definitely also be okay with. I might need to run to the bathroom really quick because I've been drinking like... Since stream started, I have drank like 36 ounces of water. Something like that. Okay, I just watched season 1 though, and it's like very gay coded, but they don't show anything explicit at all or let them actually be in a romance. I thought that in season 2 there was a kiss. But I don't actually know. Like, maybe they didn't do it in season 1 because they weren't sure if they were going to get a season 2. But I thought that there was an actual romantic element in the second season. But who knows? Maybe Twitter was lying. Season 2 is definitely romantic. Okay, well, good to know. They're confirmed gay. High fives, everybody. We did it. We have confirmed gayness. So I was surprised to see in Thor Love and Thunder, we had some actual gayness represented, which I was like, whoa, what are you talking about, Marvel? How could you do such a thing? But they did actually do they did 2 different gay things. in Love and Thunder. There's like Valkyrie is confirmed interested in women, and Korg's people are just all male, I think. The rock dude, all of his people are male, and they make babies by holding hands. Isn't that great? I gotta say, the movie was super fucking mid, but I guess I did appreciate the actual explicit homosexuality. That was cool. I can appreciate that. They make babies by holding hands. That's how you know it's lewd. Yeah, Love and Thunder was a pretty mediocre film. I was pretty disappointed in it, TBH. But, you know, I watched it with my partner, and that was what it was important about it. I did not feel good, and my partner watched a movie with me, and that was the good aspect of it. It's like they told Taika to make another Ragnarok, and he had no inspiration. Right, it did feel like it was a try-hard version of Thor Ragnarok. And I also think that it's funny that they named it Love and Thunder after, like, they named it after a thing that happened in the last, like, 5 seconds of the movie. So then if they plan to make a movie on that premise, they can't call that movie Love and Thunder. Like, I feel like you should have named the movie something else. Anyway, look at us. We got over 100 likes today. And there's 69 current viewers. Nice. LOL, nice. Yeah, so I was a little, you know, I didn't really expect it to be good, and I watched it, and, you know, my partner and I were both like, I can see why no one really was talking about this movie, except for the people who were butthurt about the women and the gay thing, you know? Oh my god. Honestly, I just hope they end the Thor franchise. Thor being goofy was refreshing when it started, but now I'm just bored of him, and nobody takes anything he does seriously. Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that. I feel like Thor's story, like, I don't know where it can go from here. It just wasn't, yeah. I did enjoy Russell Crowe's performance as Zeus. That was pretty amusing. I think Thor was handled well in Infinity War and Endgame. Yeah. It was pretty good stuff. His arc in that, and like his not knowing who he was kind of thing, like, yeah, that made sense at that point. But oh well. Hand holding babies. Glad I can't do that. Do you not have hands? That sounds like a relief. Can you imagine? He was goofy in Endgame, but he had an actual serious arc. I strongly related to his depression arc. Yeah, I mean, like, he failed majorly and went into a spiral about it, and then sort of redeemed himself in that. So it was a good arc, and now it's like they don't know what to do with his character. Like, where do you take him from there? But that's the problem with doing something after Endgame, you know? By the way, I don't really do this very much, and I probably should do it more, but consider doing a dono. This is my job, to talk about the news. And especially if you enjoyed our big long segment about that law, consider dropping me like a $5, you know, a little $5 dono, or maybe like a $1 on Patreon. That's only like $12 a year. That's like a birthday present, you know? The person I hold hands with most is my pastor, and oh boy, no thank you. Palm to palm is Holy Palmer's kiss. I want the Russo brothers to come back and do more Marvel because it feels like they're the only ones who understand how to have characters be comedic without undermining their characters or being allergic to sentiment. Which ones did the Russo brothers do? I liked Doctor Strange too, I will say. A lot of the stuff after Endgame, I'm like, I kind of don't give a shit about that. But Doctor Strange 2 was really, 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 really good in my view. Russo's did Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. Okay, we are still working through our rewatch, so I haven't seen Winter Soldier or Civil War in a really long time. So I'll have to go back and view those again sometime soon and reevaluate my opinion. I don't remember Winter Soldier at all. I feel like that was a very forgettable movie. But I also barely remember Avengers 2. That was also a very forgettable movie. No worries, Mersh. I appreciate you. You're on the Patreon and everything. Still good stuff. Winter Soldier was a banger. He seems kind of depressed still and using silly to cover it, which is also a mood, but like meh. True, exactly. Nobody cared about Captain America until Winter Soldier. Listen, I recently rented Captain America because the usual thing that I access it through, it just was like being super fucking buggy that day. But I was like, I'm literally like, I want to watch this movie. And I ended up watching it a few times while I had the rental. Captain America, the First Avenger, is a banger. That is such a good film. Like, holy shit, it just stands alone. So good. I barely remembered Bucky from the first Captain America. Right, yeah, he was just like sort of a plot device to be a motivation for Cap to do things. Like, if we're being honest, he kind of, like, he wasn't really in the movie that much. He just, like, was a person for you to get to know Steve through because of their back and forth at the beginning. And then later, he was the motivation for Cap to go behind enemy lines in the original, you know? So Bucky was not really like a major character in that. He just sort of helped us see Steve and like have a perspective on that character and someone to sort of contrast against him, especially at the beginning of the movie. You know, you've got this like tiny, sickly boy who keeps getting in fights versus like this like strong, attractive guy who's got the girlfriend, you know, and everything. But man, it really is a banger. I just gotta say, it's a great movie. Might watch it again after stream, just cause like, I don't know. Sometimes it's good to just watch a movie that you enjoy, you know. I'm not really a Marvel person, but also DC movies kind of suck. DC movies, I haven't even watched one in such a long time. What was the most recent DC movie that I watched? I mean, it might be... I watched the third Batman movie like once, the one with Bane. I only watched it once. And I don't remember it hardly at all. And I think I haven't watched any DC movies since then. I did never watch Wonder Woman or the second one. Now I feel inspired to do an MCU rewatch podcast. Listen, I'll do media analysis podcast if you want a guest. That would be fun as hell. I would love that. Don't bother with the second Wonder Woman. Don't worry, I wasn't going to bother with either one of them. Like, I have no motivation, no interest. Maybe I should have done a Marvel rewatch instead of a Bojack Horseman rewatch. This show depressing. Bojack Horseman is one of my comfort shows. This is so stupid. The first one is really good. Yeah, I just don't care. Man, you know, DC movies, they just don't really do anything for me. So, I'm literally more likely to rewatch the entirety of Bojack Horseman, which would take 10 times as long than to watch Wonder Woman. I love Bojack, but I cannot finish it. It's kind of triggering. How far have you gotten, Gayfesh? Like, how far did you get into it? If you got to the end of season 3, I completely understand. The end of season 3 is difficult, for sure. The first Wonder Woman, I think it was in like 3, 4. Yeah, was it after the big speech that Todd gives? Because that's at the end of season 3. When I first watched Bojack Horseman, that's all there was of the show. It ended after season 3. Like, that's all that was on Netflix at the time, so that's all I had. And I was like, oh, I feel really bad. It's not good. The first Wonder Woman would have been so much better if there was no Ares, if she just learned that people suck sometimes. Yeah, couldn't say. Okay, I am just gonna run to the restroom, and then we can keep talking about whatever, or we can do another little segment about the raid on this newspaper. I think it was the season where What's-Her-Name and Mr. Peanut Butter break up at the end. Been so long since I saw it. Okay, yeah. That's later in the show. Yeah, that's a little bit later in the show. Anyway, so yeah, I'm only going to be gone for a minute. I'll give you to the bugs and be back momentarily. Hold on, let me change this really quick. Okay, I'll give you to the bugs. BRB. Okay, I'm back. Did the bugs take care of you while I was gone? Oh gosh. I'm almost there. S3E8. I remember when I first watched it at the end of season 2, I was like, wow, how can the show get any darker from here? Oh no. I think her name is Daria. Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. Cute, mama. Cute, mama. Aren't you funny? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna take my hair down. I had to wash my hair twice this weekend because it got so grody. It was so windy. So one difficult thing about being in the Midwest during the summer is that if it's been long enough without rain, it gets super windy here, and then it kicks up a bunch of dust, and it's a huge irritant. For real, though, the end of season 3 is dark, but IMO, the end of season 2 is super dark. Yeah. Yes, her name is Diane. Mama Mephistopheles was being funny by saying, I think her name is Daria. Because I think somebody even said, like, she's like an Asian Daria, right? But yeah. Not trying to go on a whole Bojack Horseman thing. I guess media opinions are a thing that I enjoy going into. I just gotta watch more media. We're about to be banned from social media. Oh, monotypical. I did like a more than hour-long segment earlier about it, but you're welcome to rewind, but it's the Kids Online Safety Act. And specifically, there is a part where it says it's going to create a duty of care and liability on websites to shield children from learning about, like, from being exposed to certain content related to, quote, mental illness. And because, you know, gender dysphoria is in the Diagnostic Statistical Manual as a mental disorder, basically, they're going to give broad discretion to attorneys general across the country to basically say, like, yeah, you have to limit minors' access to information about trans people. And the co-sponsor of the bill explicitly said that her main objective was to prevent, quote, the transgender from being exposed to the chillins. So, yeah, basically it means that my content might be age restricted permanently, or maybe only my content where I talk about being trans. You know, we did a whole long segment about it, so you're welcome to go through. We actually read the law and everything, so that's what I do with my time. I'm dark on the inside. I mean, I think that we're all dark on the inside because, you know, there's no light in there. Now, if you get a colonoscopy, you'll be light on the inside, but only in that particular circumstance. good news, one of the Proud Boys leaders, Enrique Tarrio, just got 22 years in prison for the January 6th insurrection. Based and red-pilled. Amazing. Isn't it so weird how white supremacist organizations tend to attract Hispanic people? Isn't that weird? Like, why you do that? Why does that happen? Hey, if you haven't hit like, then you should hit like. And also consider dropping me $5. I know everybody just paid rent. It's tough right at the beginning of the month. No worries if you cannot afford it, but I appreciate it anyway. It's free to hit like, though. Bang. Turn on notifications, too. If you haven't checked on your notification settings in a while, check them out, yo. If you told YouTube that you wanted to get notifications for my channel, but at some previous time in the past you said, stop sending me notifications in general, please, YouTube, then you will not get the push notifications. About half of the people who click the bell and ask for notifications are not getting them because of this. So, just so you know. They're trying to become white, just like Irish and Italian people before them. I guess so, yeah. They are mostly white. They just push their few POC to the front because it's convenient for appearances. Sure, but it's like, yeah, with all of the anti-immigrant sentiment, I guess it's like the white passing Hispanic people that are trying to get in with whiteness. Like, you know, we're normal. I'm not like those farm workers or whatever. If they're racist enough against African Americans and homophobic enough, then the bigots will let them be considered white. Provisionally, you know, provisionally. And then eventually they're going to kick them out. But for now, it serves them. Hispanic people have been generally colonialized so hard as to see their own indigeneity as something to distance from. I think it's literally that what they accuse everyone else of doing when a POC is visible, virtue signaling. Yeah, literally like, oh, how could we be a white supremacist organization if we have Mexican-American individuals in our movement? We're not white supremacist. We have members of color. Oh, so actually, yes. Okay, so something that I would like to do before we get to the end is I want to share something with you all. First off, I'm going to post a link in the chat, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to keep this link open. I want you to click the like button on this video, and I'll put it in the YouTube chat as well. I want you all to go through, click like on this video, maybe even leave a comment, and we are going to watch a few minutes of this together, but I want you all, because I'm just going to give you a taste, you know, I'm only going to show you a few minutes of this. It's a 45-minute comedy special by a black trans man, and I think he's pretty funny. His name is Kai, and I want you to watch the full comedy special when we are done with this, maybe, when you have time, when you want to do that. And I want you to click through to the socials and consider, you know, Kai does music, you know, consider checking that out. Follow the socials, buy a t-shirt, drop a dono. I want to support funny trans people, you know? So I want to watch like a few minutes of this because I think it's good stuff.
Time to panic. Time to panic.
Oh yeah, hold on.
Trans people are the new side effects. Randomly, you never know what you're gonna get.
There's a little tiny thing about COVID here. And then switches back to being about trans stuff.
We got our priorities all fucked up. Politics have our priorities fucked up in this country. We're like, virus that's killed millions of people and causes debilitating side effects. Randomly, you never know what you're gonna get. Boring, we're over it, it's done.
True.
But let a woman with a penis swim good.
Can't do it.
Time
Can't do
to
it.
panic.
Yeah, I think I've showed you Kai before. We've watched like a little segment of his before. But yes, I want to send more support his way. Consider subscribing to his YouTube channel as well. Don't just like the video, but subscribe to the YouTube channel as well.
Time to panic. Trans people are the new thing they want everyone to be scared of, right? And it's all the same shit. They say the same shit they used to say about gay people. Oh, they're after your kids. They're groomers. Now it's like men are dressing up as women in order to molest your kids. Which is crazy, right? Like, everyone knows that the men who molest kids dress up as uncles, priests, and politicians.
True.
Everyone knows that.
My favorite bit from Kai is
Well,
coming
I
up.
still don't want to see a penis in the women's public
Coming
restroom.
up soon.
Then stop peeking through the crack in the stall, Cheryl. Fucking creepy bitch.
True.
I don't understand transphobia. I don't understand it myself, because I think everyone's a little trans. You ever met a really old, married, straight couple? They've been married forever. At some point, it's usually around the 80-year mark, husband starts looking like his wife. Wife starts looking like her husband. It's gonna happen to you too if you live long enough. If you find love, you get married, you live long enough. And like, that's my worst fear for me, is that things will go really well, you know? And I'll live long enough to start looking like a woman. Again. Terrifying.
True.
So I'm trans in case you're stupid. People like to ask a lot of personal questions when they find out.
This is the bit. This is the bit.
After show, this guy came up to me. He was like, "Hey, bro, you're real funny. Let me ask you a question not related to comedy." I'm like, absolutely not.
That's my favorite response. Can I ask you a personal question, or can I ask you a question not related to comedy? Absolutely the fuck not. Like, that's how I aspire to be. Like, because you can tell as a trans person, you know, when someone's like, "Can I ask you a question?" You know, it's like you can tell based on their approach that they're gonna ask you about your dick, or they're gonna ask you about like your birth name or something. Just absolutely the fuck not, you know?
No. He goes, "I'm just curious, bro. I'm just curious. I want to know, you got a dick?" I'm like, "Are you hitting on me right now? Like, what's..." And he's like, "No, I'm curious. I'm straight, bro. I'm straight. I'm just curious." So I'm like, yeah, bro. I got a bunch of them in a box under my bed.
Trans guys sound off.
He goes, "I'm not talking about dildos, bro. I'm not talking about that." I'm like, "Me neither." Keep asking personal questions. I'm gonna need a bigger box.
It's my favorite.
Slightly bigger box.
Yeah.
He didn't like that.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna stop it there. If you want to see the rest of that bit, the story continues talking about that one guy. I'm gonna leave you with that tease. Go support Kai. Go watch the content. It's so good. I showed you like my favorite part, but if you want to finish that story with that interaction, you have to go watch the whole special. It's only 45 minutes. Honestly, he had 341 subscribers a minute ago. He still only has 341 subscribers. Not a single one of you subscribed. Come on. I gotta see some numbers here. We gotta show support. He only has 341 subscribers. I literally just subbed. Oh, okay. It just didn't refresh on my end. Ah, there we go. 346. It just went up. Okay, I see 5 of you subscribed. Thank you. Where's the linky? Just scroll up a little bit. I posted the linky. Here, let me post another linky. There's another one. This is why only trans people should tell trans jokes. We're the ones who know the funny shit. Yeah, like, I think Natalie said it in her video called The Darkness. Like, she, and leave a like and a comment, everybody. Give the love. Give the love. Added the special to my watch later. Yes, you are required to show support. But yeah, like she says, it's like the darkness. And cis people are not good at telling trans jokes because they don't even understand what's funny about it. Like, can you imagine, like, transitioning genders and all of the crazy shit that goes on with that? And, like, even just purely the physical comedy of that. Like, it's so funny. There's so many different things. And, like, you know, going through that journey and, like, the deconstruction of gender and, like, what that shit even means. Like, there's so much in it. But cis people don't understand the darkness. I need to look up trans comedians. They're so fucking funny. Yeah. And I think Mia Moore opened for Kai in this. And so did someone called D-Lo. But I haven't seen, I don't know if Mia has a YouTube channel. Because Kai doesn't link out to it. If there is one. So yeah. We are spreading the love. Spreading the love. I love Mia Moore. I can't wait to see her movie. I'm really... excited to see like a trans directed and written film with a bunch of trans people in it. Got more ads on your stream? Yes, ad revenue. Perfect. It's like the stream remains monetized while it's live. That's all I want. She did her thing again earlier today. By Mia Moore doing her thing earlier today, do you mean she posted more nudes, or like what did she do? She does do that sometimes. Before I open Twitter, let me make sure that you can't see my screen. Oh my god. Oh no, she did the meme. Oh, I love the meme that she does. Damn, this placebo strong as hell. And then her transition results. Well, it's a dude. Bro, I'm clearly a woman. What are you even talking about? And that, I believe, is Sigourney Weaver. Like a young Sigourney Weaver. Clearly a guy in a dress. Like, so if you saw me on the street, would you think I was a man? Yep. Another picture of Sigourney Weaver. Yeah. She just can't be stopped. She's cool. Yeah. We appreciate. Smart, funny, trans women. Actually, I don't know if she's smart. I just kind of made that assumption. But, you know, I'm not going to take it away from her. I just know that some of you are transitioning to be bimbos, and so I don't want to insult you by implying that you have thoughts in your head, you know? Because I know it, like, for some of you dolls, it's a big thing. Transitioning into a dumb woman. You got to be smart to be funny. That's fair enough. Yeah, you have to be smart to be funny. My favorite is when someone posted a picture of JKR and the TERF replied, "It's a man." Didn't she literally change her profile picture very soon after that? It was a profile picture that had one of those filters like off of an Apple computer. Like when I had an Apple laptop with photo booth on it and it had that cross hatch, like almost pencil-y looking one. She had that as her profile picture for such a long time. But Mia Moore made her change her profile picture because she got transvestigated. I'm transitioning into Ken. I've decided. True. You are Ken-uff. I still need to see Barbie. Haven't seen it. No spoilers. Amazing how you cross-reference comments to ContraPoints with the corresponding essay on the fly. I have just watched her videos multiple times. I just have it all on deck, you know? Sometimes you just have a day where you rewatch a bunch of ContraPoints videos. It happens sometimes. I remember some of the content that she has since deleted. Like some of her early transition stuff. I was there. I was born into it. Bimboism is when you embrace the stupid parts of yourself. Yeah. I felt really dumb this whole weekend. I was like, I'm not going to take Ritalin and then go be in the heat. Like, I actually think that that's medically not a good idea. So I was like, I'm not going to do all that. And I just felt so stupid, y'all. I feel so dumb when I'm not medicated. It's so hard. The Lost Lore. I was there 84 years ago. The gender dysphoria video was so good. I know, the classic meme. Like, I look inside myself and I ask, do I feel like a man or do I feel like a woman? And the answer is that I feel like shit. Like, oh my god, that spoke to so many people. Contra old head here as well. Yeah, I remember when she was like, the Nazis. OG content. I do feel like shit, but also can. You can feel like shit and also can. In fact, I feel like that's part of the premise of the movie, but I haven't seen it. You absorb the vibes from social media and seeing the memes. The memes. Memes. Oh gosh. Yo, still 65 people in here. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. It's a good night for chilling out, you know? And if you missed the segment, no worries. You can always rewind stream. We talked about the topic in the title for like over an hour. What is the new Patricia Taxon video? What are you all talking about? This is the second time it's been mentioned. On the ethics of boinking animal people. Is this the video that you guys are talking about? Really? Really? This is... Guys. That video made me hella sad, TBH. This video? What the heck is boinking? It means fucking. Like, to have sex with. What are the ethics of having sex with anthropomorphic animal people, I think is the premise of this video. Like, is there an ethical question involved there? I'm not an old head, sadly. I consumed all her videos during the summer of 2021 while I was in the cocoon of my early transition. Also Philosophy Tube. It's mostly not about that. Okay, so she's just really good at clickbait, I guess. Smashing. Right, the age-old question. Why would there be a question about the ethics of boinking animal people? It's kind of implied that they have sapience, you know? Smashing! Gonna go all wild, all Nigel Thornberry on you. The wild Thornberries. Boy howdy, it's been a long time since I was a child. You ever have those moments? You're like, oh wow, I'm 30. Dude, the anniversary of Steve Irwin's death was this weekend. And he died 17 years ago. I'm like, dude, was I really only like 12 when he died? Like, wow. It just feels like his impact is so much greater than that, you know? His legacy truly has carrying power, I guess is how you would say it. Wait until you're over 50. I know. Yeah. 17 years ago. I love his kids too. Have we watched this? I don't actually know if it might catch the stream out, but it's fine. See if I can find the video. Okay, yeah. This is like a pretty short video. Okay, hold on.
The biggest threat to koalas now is chlamydia. Koala chlamydia is
Luckily, I'm wearing a condom. Don't worry about it. I bagged up before the shot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought it's safer for you. It's safer for the koala.
Yeah. We get asked that every day.
Sorry.
I wasn't ready for that.
No.
Well, that's good.
I had to sellotape it on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
All right. Moving on. I'm flustered now.
He's just so cute, you know? That's such a funny video. It's like, unfortunately, the biggest threat to koalas right now is actually, it's chlamydia. Like, oh, well, good thing I bagged up before this interview. Like, oh, shit. Yeah, have a good night. Y'all who are dropping off, no worries. It is that time of night. I feel like before too long, I'm going to need to make myself some food. I felt just sick earlier today, and it was hard for me to eat. What is your wisdom, old one? Mersha's got all kinds of wisdom in here. All kinds of wisdom. ContraPoints changed my political affiliation. So I actually think that ContraPoints is still really liberal. Interestingly enough, I think it's Philosophy Tube that was a big part of changing my political affiliation. And then also, like, being exposed to, like, frankly, Demon Mama and Doe. I think that was part of what cinched it for me. Like, those three people in particular are what, sort of pushed me towards a more fundamental questioning of statehood, Mersha's wisdom. Don't trust preachers or politicians. True. I'll put that one in the back pocket. Have you guys ever thought about the song, shoot, what the fuck is it called? Hold on, let me find it. I'm so bad at titles. Okay, so the song is just called The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. Have you ever thought about the lyrics to that song and how the advice that he gets from this dude is, like, not really very useful? I share Abby's video on violence in politics when I want to nudge a lib a bit further left. That is my favorite video of hers. Like, is the video just called Violence or like Violence and Politics or something? Yeah, like, it's so good. And it really caused me to question things. Like, she's quoting another philosopher in it about, what is the book? The book is called, like, How to Blow Up a Pipeline or something. And so, like, that question of, like, environmental protest is unique amongst forms of protest. It's uniquely nonviolent. Like, protests against racism are very, like, have a tendency to become violent, or even, the whole abortion thing, there's, arrests are made and things get blown up sometimes and stuff. So, like environmental politics is uniquely nonviolent, and there is a question to be asked of, like, is it ethically okay that we've waited this long to escalate that? And, like, that was something that has just really stuck with me for several years now, that, like, was part of my really big change internally, is, like, yeah, is it right that we've allowed so many of these things to happen? Like, is it morally condemnable on some level that, with how dramatic the threat to the environment is, and the fact that the planet, all of us have to live on it, and all of these animals have to live on it, and we are supposed to be the stewards and, like, safeguard and, like, the protectors of everything, we are the only people who have, like, we are the only beings who have the ability to, like, plan and preserve, and, like, put in various protections and safeguarding against, like, wildfires, or, like, even, like, doing controlled burns for the health of certain ecologies, like, certain ecological systems. Like, is it right that we've waited this long to protect the environment? And, like, I don't know, I kind of don't, like, I think that there is a moral question to be had at a certain point with that. Yeah, exactly. We still haven't escalated that, and it's 2 years later. What's up, Violet? Yeah. Oh, but I was just gonna say just as a funny aside, like, the song "The Gambler," the advice that he says is, like, what is it in the chorus? Like, you gotta know when to hold 'em, when to fold 'em, when to walk away, and when to run. It's like, okay, but that's not advice. That's just you telling me that I need to be able to discern when the cards are good to play or when they're not, or when the person is gonna be aggressive to me or when they're not. Like, you never, okay, the one piece of advice in here that is decent is you never count your money when you're sitting at the table. That's the only actual piece of advice in there. Everything else is just like, yeah, well, you gotta know when to hold them, you gotta know when to fold them, when to walk away, and when to run. Just play cards good, dummy. Yeah, get good, son. Get wrecked, boys. That's the whole thing. For me, what brought me further left was learning that Biden and Obama were both arresting kids crossing the borders and in the Middle East using drones to kill civilians. It made me realize the military-industrial complex is a system, and that these systems of oppression are bad regardless of which politicians are in office. Yeah, but, like, on some level, it's like, yeah, well, maybe we don't need a military, but still maybe we need a government of some type. That's where I was as a liberal back then, of like, you know, is there something more fundamental that needs to change? Like, that question hadn't come to me yet. What brought me further left was watching so many conservatives deliberately and manipulatively lying repeatedly. I mean, yeah, of course, that is part of it as well. But some people are stuck in this idea of like, oh, if only we just get the right people in those positions. It's not that the system is wrong. It's that the individual people who are in those positions of power are wrong. Anyway. Well, I guess it's time for me to put some food in my body and like save my voice a little bit so that I can talk to you about some of these more intense stories, news stories next time. We're going to be coming in on Thursday, and on Thursday I think we're going to go in depth on this whole like Texas making it illegal to use the highways to travel for abortion thing that they're trying to do. Literally trying to criminalize travel if they suspect that you might be seeking abortion-related care outside of the state. Because not only is it illegal within the state, but they're trying to make it impossible for you to leave, which is, yeah, just horrendously terrifying. But I don't really feel like getting into it tonight, so we'll do it later, you know? Oh, God. I think you were considering a new segment, and then I derailed with Bojack. Well, I said I would either do a new segment or I could just dick around. I have like a bunch of stuff on the backlog for editing, so I'm honestly like fine with not having 4 segments every stream for a bit because I need to catch up on editing. But anyway, thank you, Horties, for being here. Thank you, Spider, from the beginning of the stream for your dono. That was appreciated. Thank you all for your likes and your comments and your subs. We're ending the stream with 123 likes. Isn't that lovely? All right. I will see you all on Thursday. Be good. Behave. Okay? No naughtiness allowed.